Said it started.
Yeah, we on. What's good, people? What's good? Black Eyes TV in the house once again, bringing you another UK USA link up panel show talking about the black family and the black situation. I'm joined today by a nice panel of people. First time on the show, my new friend, yeah, but gonna be long time friend, George Macon, joining us on the platform, and he's gonna be laying our premise today for us to jump on and discuss. Next on the panel, I got my brother Konsu, yeah, from Team Osiris, joining us, always spitting the wisdom on words. Then we have Sister Sapphire, looking beautiful, ever ready to give her opinion. And as always, I'm joined by Mr. Riggs. Mr. Riggs, speak to the people then.
People. You know who it is. It's your UK tour guide of the world. And I just smelled love in the air.
We're going in today, people, yeah. We're going to be talking about the black family, as I said. And what I want to do, because there's been a lot of conversation between me and George over the last 2 days about a couple of the videos he's been putting out there and stuff he's been talking about. But I want to turn it over to him, and I want him to just lay down, first of all, introduce yourself to the people, George, and tell them a bit about yourself, anything you want the people to know, and then just go in on your premise and we'll pick it up from there, brother.
Peace to the family, peace to the platform, peace to the people out in London and the UK. Well, yeah, we talked about a lot of things, the last couple days. One of the things that we was talking about was being black in this westernized culture. Another topic I think that we talked about that he said he wanted to talk about was how do we bridge the gap between the so-called African Americans, the Caribbeans, and our family over in the UK. I was explaining to him when we were talking. I just said that I think. Let me see. I'm trying to think where I want to start. We talked about Tell me where you want me to start, because we talked about so much stuff. Where you want me to take it to?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, well, let's deal with the first video that you was dealing with, that we first started our conversation on. You see, when we was talking about the different communities and what it means to be black in the Western Hemisphere,
okay,
i.e. UK, Europe, USA. Like, what is that black culture? Because they're always talking about mixing. Look at that. Well, I am press segment then joining us. Yeah, that's what I like. Another first timer to the panel. That's what I like. That's what I like. Big up, my dear. Big up, my dear. But yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, I got you now. I got you. All right.
Let's start on that.
Yeah, well, my premise is, when you're dealing with the African American or the North American Negro, whatever you want to call them, like, we're decultured people. We have, some people would disagree with me, because they say, we invent things, we're good in athletics, but we give away all of our spirituality and inventions to everybody else. Like, we don't have something that brings us together despite our differences in this country. So in America, since we got here, we've been food for all the other groups. We was food when we were slaves. Since we've been so-called emancipated or free, we're still food for all the other groups. I make videos where I go around my city and I show just all the different immigrants that's in the black communities, in these urban areas that suck the community dry. And a lot of that is political. Our grandfathers was kept out of the economic loop for generations. You can walk up to the average African-American man just from Philadelphia to California, and you can ask him, like, who's your grandfather? And 70 to 60% of them won't even know. Who was your great grandfather? He wouldn't know. And to me, that's, if that's not by their own doing and it's by another group, that's a declaration of war. Because war has been declared on the black family. Because our grandfathers and great grandfathers was never allowed to pass down any generational wealth. It destroyed our economics, morality, and our spirituality. Man, you got churches on every corner. In our inner cities. but yet and still, we still haven't found a way to come together economically. We still haven't found together to come together spiritually. We still haven't found a way to create some type of morality that unites us. Like, we're still food for all the other groups, and I think I can't speak for what happens in London, but I just know in America, it's just like something simple. Like I was telling you when we were on the phone, you got the incident that happened in Brooklyn. And when I turn on the TV or I turn on the internet and I see a bunch of my family standing outside of Brooklyn protesting outside of a Korean place. But I want y'all, everybody that's on the panel, I want y'all to understand this. They say, okay, this happened in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is supposed to be a place that's so dangerous. This is where the black people live at. Brooklyn is one of the dangerous places in New York, one of the dangerous boroughs in America. And if I walk through Brooklyn, I got to be worried about another brother taking me out or hurting me. But I just don't understand how could some immigrant groups come into Brooklyn where people die every day. There's all kinds of violence with the history of Brooklyn. But these Koreans don't have no fear or no problem of hurting a black woman. They don't even care. There's no police around to protect them. They don't have a problem with hurting one of us. But yet and still, they in this drug-plagued, bullet-ridden community. But they're not afraid. That's an indictment on us as a people because we've been decultured. I can't go to Chinatown in New York or Chinatown in Philly and smack the shit out of an Asian woman. They'll fucking kill me.
That's it. You won't make it.
And these are the things that we experiencing. Like we got freaking Chinese barbershops opening up all through the hood. If I go to Chinatown to open up a black barbershop, they'll firebomb that joint. They'll burn it down because they're not culturally ignorant. They have cultural integrity. They have their economic base. You're not coming in and impeding on that. So I'll rest there and I'll let somebody speak to that.
Well, again, listen, I'm in agreement with you. And one of the things that I was putting out there to you when we was talking was the fact that when we're looking at these other communities that do have culture, that do have a sense of protection when it comes to their businesses, when it comes to their language, whatever, their traditions, what do we have to, because this is why I want to tack on to what George said and to the panel, as black people in the Western Hemisphere, as I said, Europe, UK, obviously, USA, what is our culture? What do we have to offer from that side of the diaspora to the African continent? How is our culture helping us here right now where we are? Yeah, so again, people, who wants to go in? Who wants to weigh in first? Speak.
Twin, you go ahead and get it in since you popped in the chat. I'll be on the panel.
Shalom, peace and power to everybody on the panel. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling?
What's going on?
All good, sis. It's all good. Salon.
That's what's up. Y'all can hear me. Everybody can hear me very well.
Yes.
Okay, first and foremost, I like to say the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Peace.
For sure. And now we're talking about the black family. My. This is a conversation that we need to have. This is a conversation that we all have had. This is a conversation that should be very personal, right? So this should be a conversation that's on a personal level as well as a communal level. And I think that's what's missing. We're living in the time of I'm doing me. We're living in the time of I ain't worried about nothing. As long as I'm getting mine, I'm getting mine. We're living in a time of the black feminist movement, the think like a man phase, where women don't need a man. We're living in the time of the beta male, where the beta male has now stepped up. The metrosexual has now stepped up. And everybody, is worried about what kind of shoes they got on. And everybody's worried about, what kind of moisturizer they're putting on their skin. Everybody's worried, we got men out here that rather bicker with a woman before they say anything else to another man. So So I want to put those things out first because I think those are things that we are dealing as far as the black community and the black family. We have no compassion anymore. We forgive every other race. We spend money with every other race. We have a reason to stand up for every other race. But when it comes down to Negroes, damn all of you. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I think that that's something that we need to definitely address before we begin to start talking about what is going on with the black family. We can't forgive each other. We can't have compassion for one another. I know black people that have been patroning and spending money with every other race all of their lives, have never been respected in any one of their establishments. I've seen Chinese people in Chinese restaurants lose their mind if you ask for extra duck sauce. I've seen Italians go crazy if you want a salad and you need an extra blue cheese, they charging you $1 for extra blue cheese. I've seen you been disrespected by cashiers of every other race all over the planet. You still bring your ass there and you still spend your money there. But if you go to a black establishment and a sister having a bad day, you never go back again. She nasty. I'm not gonna spend my money with you because you're nasty. But not near other race has ever been anything other to you than nasty. So I wanted to address those things first when we start talking about the black family. Now, when we begin to talk about the black family and how do we now rekindle that fire, right? How do we now rekindle that love? And I think it starts by becoming whole within oneself. We have to stop trying to be a broken individual and then try to connect yourself with another broken individual and think that somehow because you came together because y'all like each other's sex so much that everything is going to work out okay. It's not going to work out okay just because y'all like each other's sex. You have to begin to start to heal self. You have to begin to start to move in a different kind of code of conduct. You have to start living in a communal way of thinking, having a brotherhood, having a sisterhood, having a love and a compassion for yourself, which in turn will give you a love and a compassion for other people. If you love yourself, it makes it so much easier for you to love. It's hard to love somebody that don't like them. It's hard to love somebody that don't like themselves already. Okay. So I think when we start talking about the black family, we need to start understanding what that looks like. A lot of our perspective has been with a woman head of household, a father not in the home, parents that have to work 40 to 60 hours a week. The TV are raising our children. We don't have the opportunities to do the things with our children. We're not passing down any birthrights. We're not passing down any heritage. And that is making what the dynamics of the black family is going out the way. We got sisters that have traded in their men for food stamps. We've got brothers that have traded in our sisters for other brothers. We got a lot of things going on with the black family. So I think if I want to talk about problems and solutions, then I would say compassion, a code of conduct, a morality, some kind of moral compass, brothers being able to check brothers, sisters being able to check sisters, brothers being able to critically correct our sisters, for it not to be this double standard in the black man is the problem, and never once having any kind of the black woman being the only thing on the planet that is unable to be critiqued. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. As soon as you critique a black woman, then you become a hater of black women. And I think that those are things that we need to begin to correct when we start talking about how to heal the black family. So in a synopsis, in my opening, I would say that compassion, a moral compass, a respect of persons and ourselves, and we can begin to start to talk about how we move into a healthier black dynamic.
All right, all right. Who's next up? Step up, add on, build on. Solomai, I see you on. I hear you listening. Speak, brother. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Peace was good.
All right, brother. We hear you. We hear you. What's good, bro? You heard the opening comments?
Yeah, I heard just the second that going in.
That's all. What's your feeling on the state of Black Western culture? And what do you think we need to start moving it forward more constructive?
Well, I think that like you said, Black Western culture. I think that we're becoming more integrated as the generations go on, especially 2018. We really became Black Americans, as far as culturally. We're integrated into the dominant society. It's like a subculture that still exists, but slowly as we become more and more amalgamated within the dominant culture, you're starting to see a lot of aspects of the former culture that we had during segregation vanish. I think that was really Black culture. I think what you see now today is just like a westernized Black person, African, a westernized African, or whatever you want to call yourself. I know it's the Aboriginals, and we just westernized.
Easy.
You know what I mean? So I think that that's kind of what you see today. I think that the former system that we had during segregation, really segregation was pretty much a good thing to a certain degree. You pushing aside the terrorism, which is a big aspect of the segregation, admittedly. But we developed a culture and a code of conduct, and we kind of based it off of common sense. Certain things that we inculcated within our society. We kind of had a certain continuity based off the fact that we understood that we all had a common oppressor. And I think that a lot of that was broken down once we integrated. When they went to a more covert form of racism here in America, I think that a lot of those mores and shit that we kind of used to conduct ourselves, it kind of vanished. And then you couple that with the crack being pushed into our communities. You had a systematic breakdown of Black culture as we know it. So what you see now today is the tail end of all that. You kind of have us trying to be more westernized. I think we kind of judge each other based off of material wealth. All those things that came post integration is not really our culture. It's just kind of us being more amalgamated into Eurocentricity. That's just my opinion. Now, what you see today, like with the Black family, is a lot of factors playing into, the systematic breakdown of the Black family. And, I heard Sister Segnet speak on the Black woman and how she refused to be critiqued by the Black man. And, this is like, a lot of issues, what I'm saying? Piling on a lot of things that happened historically and socially, to the African American, so-called African American, and vice versa with the Black man, so I think that, the state of the Black, there's no real Black culture here in America. It's just like, we kind of becoming more amalgamated within the dominant society. And you see like the communities kind of breaking down. There's no really, like, you got Black communities. I believe like in Washington, D.C., you got some good Black communities. But as far as like the inner city communities, those are not real communities. Like we don't really own anything in our community. It's just like we're living there. That the neighborhood, we call it the hood. His in no neighborhood. There's no really brotherly love in the cities. Obviously, y'all see it every day on the news where gang violence, and all the different type of things that afflict us as a group of people. Our youth don't really have nothing to go to far as economically. Anything that we have to do, it has to be at the behest of the greater society. So, this is an integrated individual that you're speaking on. We judge each other based off of Eurocentric values. We don't think like a collective. All those things are symptoms of the fact that we don't really have a culture here. That's why the thing with the identity is a problem. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. Brother Konsu, you there? You got something to add?
Yeah, peace, brother. Peace to the panel, everybody out there. Yeah, most definitely. I think that in our culture, particularly Northern America, is quite distinct from other diasporatic African people in the world. You know, we've gone through some devastating processes and suffer from a lack of cultural identity. You know, man, woman, and child is the trinity to Black people. That is the foundation of our progression and the ability to maintain direct contact to our ancestors. You know, we are ancestor worshiping people. A lot of the things that we're separated over needs to be ended. Light skin, dark skin, heavy, skinny, Christian, Hebrew, Muslim, all of that needs to be done away with. The white supremacists will eat their own children. What makes you think they care about what religion you are or what you believe in? They don't care if you're Aboriginal or African because you're both niggas to them. That does not matter. What does matter is that the Black man who is assumed to be alpha, which we don't have the ability to be, we cannot be alpha in a situation that we do not own it, we don't have stake in ownership of. It is unrealistic to think that a Black man can provide the way a white man can. We cannot. So we have to have education, resources, and support. And we have to not only be alpha, we have to be beta, omega, gamma, and sigma. We have to encompass all of those properties that Greeks associated and terminalized with us, these qualities of alpha. That is a Greek construct. In the African construct, the man and woman would interchange alpha roles. There are some times when the man would have to be beta, even sometimes sigma, because he would play a major role in rearing the children. In the Western world, we have been made to emulate and copy the stoic white male and the demure, slick, manipulative white woman. These are the characters that we emulate in Northern America. So these are things that we have to detach from and invest more in our African culture across the broad spectrum of who we are. You cannot put us in a box. There are 11.7 million square miles from Africa. There are over 54 ethnic groups and 8,000 dialects. You're not going to put us in a box to say we're just African or we're just Aboriginal. That's not rational and that's not sensical. You know, of course, I have primary evidence of being a Black man in Northern America. And I know the biggest priority facing Black men is the inability to provide for the people he loves. The Black man is a passionate lover. He's a passionate giver. He cares oh so much for his family, yet can do nothing to change it. So from my perspective, limitedly, because I'm not a Black woman, although I date the Black woman, I love the Black woman, I have to speak to my brothers that are tuning in and understand, get your skill. Revolutionary skill is needed. Revolutionary will without revolutionary skill will ultimately get a revolutionary killed. We've had enough examples of pragmatic speakers that left a legacy we have not continued upon. It is okay to have shows talking about the spook who sat behind the door, talking about flying saucers and they putting poison in ground beef. That's great. That's great. We need to expose that, but we also need to create an economy, a commonwealth to raise our babies, to bring the value of our women up, to show that we have the ability to fortify the family and to be able to create our own means of movement. That is the most important thing that we have to focus on, because this European, this Asian, and these other people that flourish in this country do not think about you like that. The system is perpetuated. We're talking about the 1800s and it's 2018. We're talking about the 1600s and it's 2018. What would Malcolm X be if he had Google? What would Sojourner Truth be if she had YouTube? So we have advances in which we can do what we need to do and do what's necessary. We have the ability to do it. The point is, can we stop arguing and fighting amongst each other? Can we stay out of each other's business and just exist and coexist? Can we stop trying to tell everybody what they need to do and what they should do, but you ain't doing nothing? That's the biggest issue that I see in our community. And it's time to show and prove. It's time to show your byproducts. It's time to leave a legacy. Because all of this YouTube hopping and jaw jacking and karate keyboarding is not going to move a nation. That's not going to happen.
Woo! Gunshots.
I know he's
Yeah.
always dropping it. I
That's
love
why
him
Consu's
on the
always
panel.
on the panel. Consu's always on the panel. Come on, he knows what time it is.
Yes.
But over to you, beautiful sister Sapphire. Give us your opinion. What do you have to say on the matter?
Well, I do agree with a lot of things that everyone has spoken so far on this panel. And I am delighted to have my twin on here because when it comes to topics like this, she is very passionate. And as Black women, we need to learn how to submit to our Black kings, to our men, to our fiancés, to our husbands. And that's part of the problem of building a Black family. So the problem does start at home with the Black woman. We are too much independent to the point where we do want relationships, but when we get in these relationships, we don't want the man to take the position of the relationships. And that's part of the problem that has cultivated in our generation. I don't think our grandparents had this issue. The problems that our grandparents had, and even my mother, was the government was all in their business to the point where when our fathers and grandfathers came home from war, they wasn't able to still produce for the Black family. So what the government have done is they said, well, we can give you this food stamp, this money, we're gonna call it welfare. And if you get it, you will have to, not be with your husband, your fiance, your lover. And that kind of separated the Black family. And then even though that didn't really work wholeheartedly, because we do believe in Black unity, then that's when crack was put in urban neighborhoods. I'm from Oakland, so Oakland was the springboard just to see how Black people will respond to crack and to destroy the rest of the Black Panthers that was still living there. My mom is an ex-Black Panther. So with all of that being said, I have seen not only just growing up, but even with my friends and in the neighborhood, how the drugs had destroyed a lot of families, fathers being displaced out of homes. And I grew up with the concept that I have to be independent, because if I depend on the man, then I can never move into that social status thing that we're now living to this day. So I had to kind of reinvent or rewire the way that I think of a Black man, because with the way that I was growing up, I have to admit, I kind of looked at it like, well, damn, if I'm taking care of myself, I end up becoming a single parent by choice under different circumstances. But with all of that being said, I was afraid to get married because I grew up with the concept of not having a Black man to raise me or my sisters. And with that being said, it's a lot of other women that may have grown up that way or feel that they can't depend on a Black man. So again, I just have to commend Empress being on the panel, because she had been on my shows in the past to bring up the fact that we have to strip all of that away and we have to look at it from a different set of eyes, because it's not what it really seems. And I do want to say that the Black family does start with the Black woman and the Black man. And if we leave one or the other out, then we're not you know, staying within our African culture or whatever, you know, race or culture you want to claim. But I'm just saying that is the foundation of who we are as a people. And even before civil rights, let me say this, even before civil rights, we had more unity. We had more Black business. We had, if, you know, someone ended up doing hard times because the father may have passed away, then there were other men in neighborhoods that would help raise that children. Like that saying goes, it takes a valley to raise a child. And it's almost like we lost all of that. Even if we have Black people as our neighbors, we don't even want to get to know each other as a neighbor to try to be the mentorship of these children and be the ears and in the mouth of these youngsters. And it's like we're even moving away from that because they're closing down Big Brother, Big Sister that used to be in our neighborhoods. All of that is gone. So it's almost like these kids are left out there by themselves, and we need to nourish and protect these kids because these kids is going to grow up to be our age. And then we are their elder or their senior. So it's all one of the same. It's a recycled thing. So it's almost like we're getting away from all of that. And I agree with Consul when he stated that we're talking about issues that really doesn't matter as of today. And we're not even, you know, putting boots on the ground, or we're not even talking about issues that really matter to our lives, whether we're in the UK or here in the United States, we still all have the same problems. So that's what I would like to say as of now.
I think. You there?
Yes. What did you say, Rich?
Opinion, bro?
Huh?
As a next London, but what's your opinion as?
Okay, now let me go into my dialogue. And I'm not sugarcoating any shit. I'm going to say it as it is. Right? First most, we are a danger to ourselves. I'll give you an example from the times of what we call the Windrush in the UK. The first time they came and came off the boat from the Caribbean and from Africa, the first time they saw Europeans, they said they were dirty. They said they were ugly. They said they didn't even know how to speak or live or do whatever they needed to do. The issue is that we came with something of a family, even though the family was strict at the time. But we realized what we saw. But rewinding and forwarding ourselves back into like 20, 30, 40 years time, we have now become the European. And now we are the ones that are becoming the dirty, the ugly, and the disgusting. So in that fact, I always say like this: if I went 5 generations back, right, and understood who is the first, what's my great grandfather's first name, and I can't recollect it,
Exactly.
then I go five generations in front of me. Would I want to be in that same position? So what that tells me in the format that I need to have a legacy. But the issue that we have is that we like to blame others except for ourselves, because it's only us that can repair ourselves in that format. So when you look at the Europeans and you look how they lived and realized, would you like to be like that? Would you like to do what they do? Because they don't have our culture. So why are we going to take their culture and put it upon ourselves? I know we've been here long and we've lived under their roof, but at the end of the day, it's not our culture, regardless of where you're from, because at the end of the day, we need to have a form of unification without association, meaning that we need to come together as one group, regardless of who you are. So we have to go back to that self. But that self we have to understand is not to become selfish, but able to share yourself with others. So yeah, what all the panel has been saying is correct, but we need to find a common denominator amongst ourselves to enable us to push forward.
All right, I'm with you, George. I heard you agreeing with some of that. Go ahead on to that one, brother.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of people on the panel, so by the time they come back around to you, like, you kind of forget. But I'll say this.
Don't worry, George. You decide moderator, brother. We always coming back to you because you from the videos that you've been doing. So
yeah, we all basically saying the same thing. I just want us to understand that we in America, and this is a marketplace, and you know we was brought here for economic reasons, and in this marketplace, this was a place where they came to establish new land. It's not like they colonized Africa and they colonized it from a distance where the Africans still have their intact languages and their intact culture. They came here and totally brought you here and totally decultured the people. Like the Native Americans, a lot of them still have their cultures. They still have their languages. That was done for a reason. You know, to keep the group of people that was going to build these empires, the Portuguese Empire, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire. This was systematically done to always make sure that you would be food on this continent for the groups that's controlling it. Because if you deculture a people, the reason why we behave the way we behave, because we're behaving the way that we were designed to behave under this system. Bodies with no head. We walking around, like I said, if you don't know who your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather is, that's a declaration of war. Because how do you even supposed to know what your role is to a woman or what your role is to your culture? You know, you're going to be subordinate to the culture that's oppressing you because that's all you know. From the time you were a child, Santa Claus is white, Jesus is white, all your inventors is white, anything associated with greatness is white. That's done on purpose. That's done on purpose because these Europeans came to this shore and they stayed here. So they had to deculture you to make you less volatile towards them. And they put their seeds in our great-great-grandmothers and everything else. They mixed in. These was all aspects of warfare. So these are the things that we got to understand, that we are in a marketplace. And in this marketplace, we are food for everybody else because the market was built off of us. So they can't allow so-called 50 to 60 million black people in this country to get powerful. That's not going to happen because you got to understand something. A powerful African-American means a unified Africa, a powerful Africa. Because I feel like a lot of the other places where African people are waiting on us to get ourselves together. Everybody watches to see what the North American Negro is doing, and they emulate us. So it's a reason why they decultured us and made us see ourselves as less than. We began to devalue ourselves now. Because like I said, we moved this economy. Just think in this economy, if the so-called black people ever got economically intelligent, what would happen to this economy? What would happen to all the immigrant groups that come into our community to make money? If we all of a sudden said, we have something that unifies us and we're going to begin to patronize each other. What would happen to these groups? Because the white people didn't import them here to come into the white community and make money. They imported them here to come into our community and suck it dry. That was systematically done for a reason. Because that immigrant, when he gets out of line, they can run his ass the fuck up out of here. They don't have nowhere to send you because this is your home. You are a true American. This is your home. So the only way to keep this economy going right is to keep you in a subordinate role to everything else. So outside of us being in this subordinate role is why you have everything. I think the problem that we have is, it's like if you walk in the room and hit the light switch, and when you get in that room, you see the room fucked up. We judge the room based off the way it was when we hit the light switch, but we never asked the question, how did the room get that way? We're not looking at what our people had to go through for so many years, and it's a reflection of what you see today, and not just the heroin Holocaust and the crack Holocaust and all the things that they hit us with. This was done on purpose. We speak in English right now. We got European names, like we call ourselves African American. Don't nobody on this panel that I know can speak an African language. You know, so like we gotta find out what what can unify us despite our differences? Because a lot of us are integrated now into a lot of us coming out of different mixed race relationships, all kinds of things, to the point where we so far away from what it is to so-called be black. Like, man, I don't know if we ever really be able to get that back because of what the system done. But we just got to understand that we are in the marketplace, and in this marketplace, we are designed to be the food. We are not designed to ever become economically intelligent. That's not the way the system is set up. So, you know, I just rested at that.
Yeah, Brother Konsu, he does speak Yoruba though. I know a few words. Just to put that out there.
I can speak it fluently. The one thing you kind of got to understand is that majority, even like if you look at Africa and the continent, they tend to speak 2 languages. The thing is that we need to learn from each other to able to speak a common denominator language amongst ourselves. And that has to begin from our education and our babies.
I totally agree, brother. Now, I really want to say that we may speak American, but there's dialects. There's dialects to the English language. Some are younger, some are older. Me living in Chicago, we have a Chicagoan dialect that is ours and ours alone. We'll say certain phrases and words that are catchphrases, that are pidgin languages, that are colloquial, even though we have a foundry of American verbiage. And that comes from our Gullah influence and our Louisiana Creole influence. So even though we are byproducts of a systematic oppressor, we still have a culture. The issue is that we play the black and white game. We think if there are gray matter that exists between black and white. It's more to that. It's more to, well, that's a black person and I'm a white person. It's a lot more to that. When it comes to economics, you know, I give a weekly show. I do a weekly broadcast, man. And I can't, you know, I beg my brothers and sisters to come and take part of the gift I have. I think everybody on this panel, everybody that's listening has an inspirational gift that they do well. If we understand the elements of economics, which are scarcity, subjectivity, inequality, competition, imperfection, ignorance, and complexity, these are things that encompass economics. But you can't do the economics show on YouTube because it's not exciting. It's boring. It's not good enough. I want to see somebody yell at somebody. I want to see somebody point a finger. I want to talk about aliens. This is what we appeal to. This is what if we talk about investments, if we talk about economics, if we talk about writing trusts and wills and family limited partnerships that your ancestors did during the antebellum period. They wrote land trusts and you wouldn't be here right now. They were educated on those things. But then we called them talented tenths. We called them coons and sellouts because they chose to be articulate and understand the area that they're in. There is a median point where we have to set all that stuff down. Oh, I don't like W.E.B. Du Bois because he wasn't perfect. Well, I don't like Martin Luther King because of that. Well, I don't like Noble Drew Ali because of that. These are issues that we come across every single day. We're the only ethnic group of people in the world that have a problem with universal intellect. We have a problem with universal knowledge. Yet we ascribe to the universal knowledge system that Herodotus gave birth to find our information anyway. We go on Google, we search everything that doesn't belong to us. We give credence to things that we do not do culturally. We don't dig our dead up from the ground. But we talk about bones and we talk about grave sites that have been tampered with. But we don't do that in African culture. And we know that. So it's really hypocritical what we say and what we talk about. In Northern America, this particular diaspora, Central America and Southern America, it is a requirement. It is a requirement in 2018 to be educated to your situation and your surroundings. And then you must create byproducts of that. You cannot just go off and say spurious things of a revolutionary nature without a revolutionary plan. That plan has to be objective and subjective. standing on the corner, fist in the air, flags flying, and posters are not going to get it anymore. It's over with. 1960 over with. That's done. I know it looked good, it feel good, watch it and all that. That's great. But it's your turn to write history. When you going to take Malcolm's place? When you going to take Khalid Muhammad's place? They are gone. So all the fantasy and all the dreaming and all of that, the cold hard truth is the white supremacist keeps doing what he does because we allow it. We allow it. It's not the system of oppression has technology as well. It's not 1960 oppression anymore. It's not putting water hoses and dogs on you anymore. It's having police officers that look like you shoot you because they need a paycheck. Mm-hmm. It's a lot deeper than just talking about Selma, we shall overcome. It's a lot deeper than that. Single parents and single mothers that are illiterate and having children just because they're ignorant to having children, not understanding home economics, hygiene, health, literacy health, admitting the sexual abuse that happens to men and women in Black families, the psychological issues that we have, the social capital that we do not use, the fact that we spurn politics because we think it's rigged. You know how many Black people thought that Trump and Bush stole the election? If I asked a Black person who the Secretary of Defense was, they wouldn't know. If I asked them who elects the president, they believe that they do. The Electoral College does. That started with the Constitution, but how many of us know it? If we're going to deal with the oppressor, we must know the oppressor. You cannot be that fearful of the oppressor that you're not willing to deal with him head on, because that oppressor comes in your front door every night. He talks to your child, he talks to your wife, he talks to your husband, he talks to your son. Through that TV, through those cell phones. You go into the most poverty-stricken Black neighborhoods, they got iPhone 10s, they got the latest Jordans, they got the most expensive hair weave, they got the most expensive cars, in the most decrepit, and this happens all over the world. All over the world, because we have economic displacement that is not done properly. We will value an iPhone before we value a book. We will value an iPhone before we value a daughter or a son. These are the things this is the stuff that we actually value. And because we do not have economic education, we believe all we need is to stand and fight. You are dealing with a natural born killer. A natural born killer. We are naturally born to do this. All white people are racist, either directly or indirectly. Some of them are hereditarily racist. They may have all the intent in the world to want to help. Unfortunately, we don't need their help because we don't come in our business. Until we clear our business up, then we can only expect justice at this point. But we cannot get justice if we're not collectively moving in a similar direction. Leave each other be with our personal situations. Leave the Bible and everything, all those little social issues, leave them out of the conversation. Be progressive and applicable. Let's start applying some of this. If you spend all that time researching to find out who the oldest racist was, and you can do the same research to find out how to better your condition. You can do the same thing, the same energy that's required. You can do that. If you're saying that we're displaced and we're immigrants in this country, but we got to live here, because if we go to Africa, the same people we meet in the airport coming here are the same people we're going to meet getting there. Why do the Ethiopians get on the airline to come here? When you go to New York, how many Africans you see here driving cabs, mopping floors, cleaning windows, and then sending that money back to Africa, taking care of their family? But we trying to leave America, go to Africa broke, and expect Africa to take our broke ass. The African Union ain't dealing with no broke American. So, but when we say broke, we say, no, that's a badge of honor. I'd rather be a poor righteous teacher than a wealthy righteous teacher. I'd rather be poor and broke and leave nothing but stories, slave stories, for our people to land based over. Keep talking about wading in the water. That's ridiculous. That don't make no sense.
Real talk.
Who trying to go back to Africa?
Oh, I'm not saying you, Queen. I know how we feel on the planet. I know how we get out.
We're taking to West Africa.
Don't get started on that.
That's what I
Listen.
want to know. I want to know who's still talking that jive. I ain't heard nobody talking that back to Africa shit in a minute. Ain't nobody trying to go back to Africa and do what? I know black folks here in America that ain't been off their block, let alone trying to get back to goddamn Africa.
But look at one thing though. But look at one thing. If we look at the people that did slavery, yeah, they had to go internationally. Yeah. So would you either take a continent or a zip code?
Right now, I'd rather take a block. I'm gonna keep it 100.
That's good.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I know it might sound good and real revolutionary to talk all that continental displaced and all that other shit that ain't me. I'd rather get a block and start there. I'd rather get a city and start there. I'd rather get a hood and start there. I'd rather start just being able to. I'd rather start just being able to buy.
But segment, if I can get something from Africa and give it to you to sell, wouldn't that be international?
I'll take anything from anybody to sell.
Exactly. So if we are working together as one people, you don't have to go to Africa, but you can associate yourself in form of unification without association.
Oh, God.
Listen, this is the thing, yeah, that people need to understand. I think it's a twofold thing. One, we have to have a value system for our culture, as Konsu says, yeah. That's why you need to know certain languages, African dialects. We have to know the value of our culture in it, because again, it gives you a whole different outlook on reality, yeah. This is what we gotta understand and we gotta take on board. So like when we're looking at Konsu's picture there, yeah, you're seeing the voodoo man, you're seeing a different outlook on reality that allows those people to supersede their current position, regardless of the trials and tribulations they're under. Yeah, it allows you to deal with what's going on. So I think we can't get away from the connection that we need to have with the continent. We can't get away from the connection that we need to have with that original culture. Yeah, that's why the language thing has to be addressed. We have to know certain languages or dialects. We have to train ourselves to know certain things, because, as I said, as you're speaking the words, it's shaping a reality. If
But
we're
you know
using
what?
our
I think one of the main problems. One of the main problems with that too, Black Ice, is that the churches in the Black community here in America kind of strip us away from who we are as a people, culturally, our mother tongue. I mean, because even Konsu Avatar is our science, it's our technology. That's us, you know. But the churches had looked into that technology as something evil and wicked. So we had to, you know, so we kind of steer away from anything other than what is acceptable in these mentality of church people. You know, now a lot of us have been to church. Some of us are ex-Christians, you know, so some of us have involved outside of that culture. But what happened in the civil rights, it really took a turn for the bad, because it made us integrate with all of these people that hates us and always agenda against us. Even prior to that, we have Black neighborhoods, we have Black business, we have Black banks. You know, the situation that George had did on his live stream, I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, it was a twofold situation that he did on his live stream. He went to a shop that showed that Chinese people are cutting Black people hair, and they're charging $5 less than what we're charging to cut our own hair. And that's a cultural thing. The other thing that he pointed out was the MOVE movement, and how the mayor and the U.S. government, the army, had dropped the bomb on a radius of 1 or 2 blocks. Until this day, those homes are unlivable. The foundation is fucked up. So it comes to a point where even when we try to make a Black community and keep the economics growing and make the dollars circulate within our community, it's almost now that it's unheard of. It's a threat because these banks will not give loans unless you're a barber or you're doing some type of soul food type of restaurant, and it's far in between. But the banks are also going out their way to discriminate against us, which is the white institutes. And then when we do have Black banks, we don't want to support the shit. I remember seeing a live stream of a brother doing nothing but Black community banks throughout the whole United States. And I think out of that whole live stream, maybe 5 or 6 people have went to those banks and put money in the bank. I'm just saying, it's almost like we are the walking dead. We are zombies, and all of this information is right at our fingertips, but we don't want to utilize some of it. And there's some of us that are doing it and doing videos as a testimony. It's like people still don't want to believe it, so it's too good to be true. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy, but I just wanted to shed light on that because I do giveaways, and it depends. If it's a certain people that is given away, then I get a lot of viewerships. But if it's business, Black business, and I do nothing but give away on Black business, so let me make that a point. But it's almost like we don't even trust each other just to do giveaways. I have people that have won some giveaways and still don't want to give me their address. And I've been doing giveaway for almost 3 years now. It has never been said that Sci-Fi have taken your personal information and mistreated that stuff. I deliver when I said I'm going to deliver. I give you your tracking number. But the trust in the Black community is so fucked up, and we got to keep it real. This is why we're not able to unify with each other.
So I want to jump in real quick. Were you saying something? I want to jump in real quick.
Go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah, it's the reason why the trust is so fucked up. And I heard everything Kansu said, but it still go back to what I said. We are decultured people living in the marketplace. So, when you talk about conspiracy, or if you talk about what we need to do, they spent generations trying to destroy the Black family, the Black man and Black woman together. Like, I'm married and I've been married for some time. I'm holding down the Black family. I have my children in the home with me. But when you look at our people, even on this panel, how many of us is married? I believe that the first aspect to resurrecting Black power is marriage. That being that example, because the only way you can destroy white supremacy is through marriage, one family at a time. The unification of family.
What is your definition of marriage?
My definition of marriage is a man and a woman together, building together with a family, and then creating communities around that same behavior. Communities are built through families together.
So your definition of marriage is one man, one woman living under the same roof.
It doesn't have to be one man, one woman. What my definition is a man and a woman working together in agreement to build. We don't under this system, we won't work together in agreement at all. We work separate from each other. All trying to basically grab what we can grab within this system, because this system was designed to keep us that way. This is the problem. So I don't care if you so-called got that paper or not. But what I'm saying is we're not doing things we're not creating families together and working together within the family where we can build some type of cultural integrity and morality based around that as a group. So because of that, we don't move as a group. But that was done. And what I'm saying is they did that. We seen them do it. We talk about what they did. So the way to begin to fight that is we got to put back the families. And I think that start to put back the families, some of these things can begin to be destroyed because a lot of our women will be protected, our children will be protected. Black men will start to understand what their role is to their women. And I think that when we operate the way we operate now, like it's just a recipe for destruction. Because we got a lot of Black people that's educated. They got all kinds of degrees. A lot of Black women are educated. You got Black men that are educated, but that's still not. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how good, what type of job you got, how much money you making. That's still not stopping gentrification. That still has not liberated our children, Black boys from dying and Black mothers from crying. I think the only solution is we got to get back to more family oriented and family based through a community. And it has nothing to do with just having money. Before you even get that money, you got to have a structure set up for how that money is going to circulate. So we can go and get jobs and I can train people. That shit don't mean nothing if you ain't got an intact family base with that dollar circling around your morality that you created. And we don't have that. We got a lot of fucking people with money. A whole lot of Black people got money, but we don't have the love for each other with that money. Nor is it being circulated through a more family base.
No
But
doubt.
George, you said one thing quickly. I just want to add. You said one word quickly that I would like to touch on, and that's morality. I believe that this, what we call the so-called conscious community, when they've come out of whatever religious system or whatever religious way of thinking that they coming out of, whether it be Christianity or Buddhism or Islam, they throw away morality with what they believe is the lie.
Right.
They throw away a code of conduct with what they believe is the lie. So they wake up because they done watch Black Ice TV on YouTube, and now they woke now, right? And Jesus is a white man, and we ain't believing in Jesus no more. And when they throw away that understanding, and now they're walking in this I'm woke, they've thrown away the baby and the bathwater. And now we walking around with a bunch of Ronins. Y'all know what I mean when I'm saying Ronins.
Right.
We walking around with a bunch of a bunch of Black folks that's got their own way of thinking. They got their own understanding. They don't want to follow anybody. They want to always be correct. No, everybody right? The Abos is right. The Kemites is right. Everybody right. The Christians is right. Everybody right. It's causing this chaotic behavior that we've had for a very long time. It's like, when do we begin to look at the situation in a very down to earth look? I've been there, y'all. I've been there. We've been in the tombs. We've been there. We've been to Sumeria and all that shit. We've been there. Who bones been found, who bones ain't been found. We've been through all of that shit. Now it comes down to, okay, what do we do in real time with Black families to get them to a place where we're loving and considering each other and having compassion for one another and working together as a unit? What do we do to repair those relationships? What do we consider our currency? You see what I'm saying? We have all different ideas of what currency is. You see? So when you say that word morality, we have a lot of people in the so-called conscious community that feel that morality has no weight because we woke now. And that morality or a code of conduct means nothing. And I think that when we operate it in a collective way, if we look at the times that Blacks in the wilderness of North America prospered in some kind of way, because we've never really prospered, I don't believe that there's a living Black man today on the wilderness of North America that really knows how it feels to be respected. Their women don't respect them. Their jobs don't respect them. The streets don't respect them. They go to school. They get told as a young boy, you ain't gonna be shit. Okay? They get told by their own mothers, you look like your daddy, you ain't gonna be shit. It's Black men that don't even know what it feels like to be respected. And now we're talking about how to build back a Black family. Come on now. We talk to sisters about being submissive to the man that they open their legs to, and everybody catches an attitude. But when has the Black woman ever been made to respect the Black man? When has the black woman ever been put into the position where they have to respect that man? No, this system has always put us in a position where we keep our men beaten down and lower. The black man is the only man on the planet that's not respected by any other race. Why? Because they see us disrespect them. They see us disrespect them everywhere we go. They see us disrespect them every time we turn around. We got women out here treating their sons like they man and treating their man like they son. And nobody wants to talk about it. So when we start talking about how do we heal the black family, it begins with the black man taking their rightful place and the black woman taking their rightful place without feeling like somebody got to lead. Somebody got to lead. There used to be a phrase where somebody got to wear the pants. Y'all remember that? So who gonna wear the pants? Somebody has to take the lead. And why can't we, as black women, allow our men to take the lead and we begin to operate in a fashion that is respecting of one another and respecting of persons with one another, with some kind of moral compass and some kind of code of conduct. But if we keep on walking around here acting like we Ronins with no leadership and no morality and everybody right, we're going to keep on living with a chaotic behavior.
But sister, you got to remember, under the system, like you said, a black man ain't allowed to be a man. And the black woman, before she became a woman, she was a girl. And a lot of things that our black women has went through, being abused, being abandoned, being so many different things from her not being protected by that man since she exited that womb. She's been conditioned not to look to her man. She's been conditioned under this system to look to the white man for everything.
You can't expect somebody to protect you that you don't respect.
Right.
Come on, George. You can't expect somebody to protect you that you don't respect. Ain't no way in hell that you should expect a black man to protect you no matter what, and every time you turn around you a bitch ass nigga, or you a punk motherfucker, or some other nastiness come out of your mouth. But then if somebody else turns around and disrespects you, you expect some brother to put an S on his chest and take an L for you, and we ain't taking no L for our men. Come on now, George. Nobody is respecting the black man. And that's the reason why the black family hasn't come until its full fruition, because we have never shown any kind of respect publicly for our men. So nobody else is going to do it either. No one else is going to do it either.
I agree with you, but that's why I said for generations that the whole black culture systematically has been destroyed. We no longer understand our roles to each other. So that's why I said, on the panel, I said the only way we can do it is by trying to put together back what they spent generations destroying. They spent generations destroying the black family and the morality around it, the culture. We have no more culture integrity. If you ask the average black boy who his grandfather is, he don't even know. That's systematically done. So once you get a boy to that, he don't even know what his role is to a woman, because he don't even know what his role is to his damn self.
But see, George, that's where the respect comes in at home with the black woman and the black man. And once you establish that type of foundation and you have kids that have been born through that, then they would take that going forward. And that's what we have lost. And that's what I was talking about earlier on this show. The government have ripped that apart with drugs, welfare, anything you can think of. But I'm not just trying to put it on the other race, because it still comes back to us. We know that we're disconnected from each other. I mean, just seeing what happened to those sisters at the nail shop. I mean, hell, I have been disrespected at the nail shop. I have gone into at the nail shop, was there for almost 10 minutes. This white woman walked in and she was sitting down getting her nails done. And I'm like, what type of shit is that? So I made a public announcement. Yes, I did make it a public announcement. And I said, yes, I am not ever coming back to this place, because I was here before her. The lady stopped and turned around. She tried to offer me her seat. I said, no, because I see what it is now. It's a color thing. You see what I'm saying? These are all these Asian people I'm the only black woman. She's the only white woman, and all the other seats is filled. So I know how it feels to be disrespected out there in public domain. But what I'm saying is, they see these music videos and they hear this music that we're putting out there that is so disrespectful to the black woman. There ain't no love and no respect for the black woman.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it started off with that. It started off with the crack. It started off with the welfare. And I'm not trying to, and Kansu, I'm keeping what you're saying, you know, in mind as I'm speaking. But at the same time, it's like we got all of these layers against us.
Yeah, we got to
Black
pull up
woman,
that.
the only black woman in the nation of the United States that are getting a college degree than any other race. A black woman is the only woman that is getting these degrees, and these are the independent black women. But these women need to go back and pull these brothers up. You know, don't look at how much money they got or how fucked up their credit is. If this man is willing to show you some respect and love you and create a family, then it should be built off of that. It shouldn't just always be built off of how good his credit is, what kind of money he got, and all this other material shit. So it goes back to the respect of each other in the household.
I want to bring Kansu back in because he said some stuff that was good, but I want to add. Kansu, unmute your mic real quick. I want to ask you something. If you're in there.
You know what, George? I want to quickly say one thing that I know that black women don't want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway because I believe that where I'm coming from is a perspective that needs to be heard. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I'm saying that I've seen it. Being raised as a single, my father raised me as a single parent, and I saw it from a different side of things. But if our black women begun to take they ass home, go and worry about taking care of your house, go and worry about taking care of your children, learn some skills. If you wasn't out buying waffles at the Waffle House, you can't get drugged. If you was home making waffles, you can't get drugged. If you knew how the skill of doing your own nails, you wouldn't be at no nail salon giving your money to no Asian to get beat the hell up. Take your black ass home. If you wasn't in the street somewhere, you know, trying to be seen, trying to get attention, trying to do everything else besides worrying about what you need to put into the black family in your home, you wouldn't be susceptible to the dangers that we put ourselves susceptible to because we want to be seen, we want to be the man, we want to run shit, we want to be independent, and we need to take our black ass in the house.
Facts.
Yeah. All right. Kansu, you there, Kansu?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to step
I like the premise of what you were saying. My only issue is, you know, what I was saying, like I look at everything like this. It's just like the street game. Everybody in the black community is never going to be woke, and we don't even need everybody to be woke. What I look at it like this: when you deal with the Asian community and you deal with the Arab community and different white communities, everybody's not woke. They listen to what the leadership say in the community and they move according to what the leadership does. The woke, educated ones and the woke ones are the ones that provide services for these people. They create businesses and then they hire their people. Everything that you said was right and exact. The problem is how, with everything that we just said, how do we deprogram our people to the point where we get educated ones, the economically intelligent ones, to come together now, despite their differences, and build an economic base to hire our people. Because we got plenty of black people with money, and we got plenty of educated people. So I'm not even looking at the Negro on the ground with the felonies that can't get a job from the white man. I'm looking at the educated ones that send finance, the ones that has the money. Why, when we make money, we amalgamate into other cultures. How come we can't get deprogrammed with all the education we got and money we got and build and provide jobs for our own people like everybody else did?
I think that really comes from the family structure. I think the one thing that changes that is the immediate change of the exchange of the family, the man, woman, and child. It's going to take that. It's not going. It can't be done on a grandiose scale because we've been systematically detached from our center, our actual cultural center. Because when you look at America, we don't actually have an ancient culture here that we can directly access because we have layers of culture. When we're dealing with our people on a general, we have to do it with unmitigated love for each other. And I know that sounds pie in the sky, but actually, if we maintain respect and diligence between each other, if we curtail the need to want to check the first black person in front of you, you're not gonna do nothing to your oppressor. So why would you do something to your brother or your sister? You're not ready for that. You're not really ready for what you're asking for. You're not ready for discipline. You're not ready for structure. So we have to teach certain things. It's just like the Empress was talking about. We got to teach what cleaning products work in the house. How do you iron a pair of pants? How do you fix a balanced meal? These little basic things, these kind of things need to be taught because the human experience is blurred. We don't have a value for humanity. How I can see that European man and I can maintain my poise and structure to get my directive done. I don't get sidetracked in my directive. My directive is the uplifting of my black people. So that means that I have to be willing to have a high pain tolerance to do what I need to do. So we have to teach the basic fundamental skills, how to say good morning to each other when we walk by, how to clean up the garbage on the ground. If the guy on the block who is the eyesore on the block, if everybody got $1 and it's 700 people on the block, we're gonna pay you $700 a week to keep this area clean. And that person is part of the ecosphere on your block. One block, and then we take over an area. And I'm not talking about taking it over in the sense of we own it and kick the white folks out and all. That's not realistic. What I'm talking about is collective ownership at the lowest level to the highest level, because each one of us want to be a part of it. It's just that we're not respected or we're shamed into feeling like we don't deserve to be a part of it. I'm talking to the youngster that's on the corner, serving and doing the things that he got to do. He deserves respect too. He deserves to be reached out to. But we got to give him a solution. And we got to start at where they are. We can't expect them to just jump onto a campaign that we're not willing to fulfill. Most of the time, these are the problems that we have. We create false illusions out of pragmatic demagogues. Those are people like the Farrakhans, the Malcolm X's, the Martins, all of these people that was regular people. You can't tell me that Martin Luther King's wife wasn't pissed at him when he wasn't bringing his ass home at night. You can't tell me that his children didn't suffer when he was out there marching for 10, 11, 12 hours. You can't tell me his children lost respect for him to a certain degree because he shouldn't have been the only one damn doing it. He shouldn't have been the only one doing it. It's not rational thinking. So we still trying to adopt that same crazy shit in 2018. If anything, Martin told me, he told me courage and determination and what not to do. That's why he gave his life. And those people gave their life in vain if we're doing the same repetitive shit. It's not going to work. Yep. If we're not willing to, we can sit in the house. We have a refrigerator full of food, right? We know we got this homeless guy on the corner. Each of us won't take an apple and go get that man that apple. We won't do that. We're not inclined to do it. So we have to have the inclination to actually love each other. Unequivocally got to love each other. That is the only way. In Ifa, we have a saying in Ifa, and I'm gonna say this quickly because I know this is a really big panel, and everybody has to want to voice their opinion. But we talk about Iwapwele, and that is good character, and it exemplifies that which you love. It could be your job, it could be your wife or your husband, it could be your children, it could be whatever it is that you put your devoted love into. That love becomes a passion. And because that love becomes a passion, you become good at it. And when you become good at what you have a passion for, it becomes your profession. Just like a Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Do you know the top 10 black billionaires in the world are self-made? They never became billionaires working for somebody. They took what they loved and made it a passion and then a profession. Once it becomes a profession, it is then you can become paid for it. And whether you're spiritually paid, where it's financially paid, where it's hereditarily paid, if you let love become your passion and your profession, because you're good at loving, you will be paid for it. And once that happens, it becomes your vocation. When it becomes your vocation, it is something that you can give to the world. It could be your job to instill love in others. This can become your vocation. And once the world needs that, it completes your mission. So your passion, your mission, your devotion should be based on African spirituality, which is love. That is the unmitigated factor. It's not about how big your ass is or how fine your car is. It's not about none of that. Once we let go of those concepts and we start dealing with people as human beings, then we're not going to have that problem. Just because I deal with the European as a human being don't mean I know he's not a white devil. Don't mean I know he's not a monster and a killer. That ain't got nothing to do with me putting food on the table for my wife. Because if I got to engage with that devil, I'm going to wear devil repellent. And I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to bring it home to my wife. Because I can't come home to my son or my daughter and watch them starve. I cannot do that. We call each other kings and queens. Do we know what that means? That don't come from our culture. Because the queen is the matriarch in African culture. She is matrifocal. If you call yourself a king, what land do you own? Black queens. If you call yourself a queen, did your father give you away to your king? What did your father own to make you a queen? Because there's two sides of that. Because the Brits call queens a prostitute, a desolate prostitute,
a banshee.
So you better make sure you know what you're creating with the codified language. We have to have ownership and equity spiritually, financially, and militarily. And I ain't talking about with a gun. I'm talking about militant vigilance. Your health is your greatest weapon as Black people. Diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, prostate cancer. These are things that kill us by the thousands.
ESRD, end-stage renal disease, dialysis. That's on and
psychological.
It's keeping track of that shit, and it's mostly us. It's 85% of Black people on dialysis when it comes to those type of stats, and that's a $1 trillion industry. So go ahead, Consul. I just have to add to that.
It's an open panel. I'm not trying to take over the panel. I'm very passionate about that. It's the relations of the Black man and the Black woman. We got to love our babies. Stop holding on to past things that limit you to love your people, man. Let that go. Yes, sir.
I want to just add something on to what you're saying, yeah, and make this known in the simplest terms, yeah, to the people that are watching. It's all about the family, innit? From all of these qualities that we're talking about learning within the Black community that we know we need to learn, value systems. All of these things are learned from the family structure, from the time that you're raised as the child, from the time that you have that first child as the parents, yeah, you start to learn all of these emotions, these value systems. So again, it goes back to what George was saying, that getting back to basics, when you peel back all the layers, all the other things we have to struggle through on a daily, we have to deal with this family structure thing. Because if you have that family structure running, before you leave your house, you have a value system for what's important. You know what you're going to work for. You know what you're fighting for. So when we're confronted with these group problems now of economic struggles, racism in the streets, you understand what you're fighting for. Yeah, you can look at your neighbor, and if they're the reflection of what you have family-wise, again, you know they're going to be on your side. You know they're going to empathize with what you're saying and going through straight away, because everybody's living that same reality. And me and George spoke about this, the systematic attacks on that family structure over the years to break it up. That's what we definitely have to repair. There's a whole load of roads that need to be traveled in order to fix us as a wider community. But as I always say, society starts with families, then villages, then towns, then cities, then society. So again, I'm with that sentiment. I needed to put that into the mix Solomon, I ain't heard you for a while, brother. You still with us? Solo.
So mine went to sleep.
You're gonna sleep on us. All right. Continue the conversation. I just wanted to add that in. And I want to say as well, sorry, before anyone says anything, big up to the chat room, everybody who's contributing, everybody who's tuning in. Shout out to everybody out there. Like, share, and subscribe. You know the routine. I want to see bare thumbs up for this panel.
So basically, what I'm hearing from Kwasu and a lot of other people on the channel is that we really need to let go of our ego and just learn how to reconnect with each other. I mean, that's the solution, part of the solution. Reconnect with each other, let go of the ego, and just each one's
compassion. Compassion is the first thing I said when the beginning of the show. We don't have any compassion for one another anymore.
Right. I agree, sis. Terry, do you want to add to the solution pot? Terry went to sleep too, huh?
Yeah, I'll say this.
Go,
and I'll keep saying it. I think that we do need to let the egos go and all these different things. But I want y'all to understand something. Under the system of white supremacy, guess what we all do together, collectively? Serve it, despite our differences. We serve it every day. But for somehow we make all kinds of excuses why we can't serve each other. We go to work for the system. We do everything for the system. I don't care if you are a Moor, a Hebrew, Moor, Israelite, you in the black church, you in a nation. People got jobs. They go to work every day. They call the white man this, the white man that. But when we say we got to do something together, oh man, I can't be a Phil. Oh man, they call themselves black, or they do this kind of things. I think that we come so far that we afraid of being independent of this white man. Because if we ever became independent, somewhat white man, then we can't blame him no more for our failures.
You damn right.
We have to learn how to move independent. But I'm gonna say this: we're never going to be able to let go of the ego or get over these things until our educated people and our people with economics come together and build something where we can learn. Until we get to the position where we can hire and fire each other and we can build a morality around that, we're never going to be subordinate and have love to each other. That's not going to happen. It's just like when you look at the story of Harriet Tubman. When she made it to the north, she didn't just go back and get a drink and say, hey, fuck it, I made it. Shit, they should follow the same stars I followed. No, she went back and got her people, the ones that couldn't. So now, if you coming out of this system and you so happen to luck up and make it out and get educated, you so happen to luck up and get a business, it's incumbent upon you to build structure for your people. So that way it can be easier for the ones you had to go through the hard road to make it easier for your people. Until we do that, we're never going to wake up out of this zombie-like mind state. That's how you do it. We're not just going to pop up. It's not going to happen. It has to happen through economics within this capitalist society. That's why when Mexicans come here, one Mexican will move on your block. Within 5 years, 50 Mexicans will be on your block, and they'll have economics where they hiring and firing their own people. So you educated ones, all the ones that understand economics and business, all the millionaires. If you ain't deprogramming yourself and putting it back into your community, then you always have niggas. You will always have coons. You will always have sellouts within this system that we live in. That's just what it is. We're never going to get rid of the ego until we can hire and fire each other. We got an economic piece. That's it. Other than that, we just wasting our time talking. I'm telling you. All you got to do is look at the way the other groups operate within this capitalist society. We're food for all other groups. We the ones that put all their kids through school. We fund, just think of this. Everything that we vote for and fight for, these immigrant groups vote against because it's not in their interest for us to get economically intelligent. Because if we didn't have to patronize them no more, they no longer make a living within our communities. So why would they support you? That's just the way they want you to be niggas. That's the way the system is set up. You be a nigga and have you running on a hamster wheel, filling up the prisons, getting a felony at 18, so at 33 you can't get a job. So now if I can't get a job from the system, but we got all these educated and millionaire black people, why haven't y'all created a structure or a system where we can hire and fire our own people so that felony system won't pertain to me?
George, that's because as a collective black race in North America, the white man is our daddy. The black man
Right.
is not our daddy. The white man is our daddy. Why do I say the white man is our daddy? And yes, he is. The white man is all of us, all of you niggas' daddies. Why? Why is he? Because when we need protection, who we call? The police, the white man. Your lights right now is on. Right now. Who you pay when you to keep your lights on? The white man. When you go flush
Right.
your toilet, that water that's coming out of that toilet so your shit can flush down the drain, who you paying that to? The white man. When you go to work, you getting your check. Who signed your check? The white man. When you go to get that gas, or you go to get your food, or you go to the grocery store, who all that money going to? The white man. That's our daddy. When we go to get our education, we get up every day, get our kids clean and dressed, and send them to where? Do we send them to the white man to get educated? That's our daddy. And until we put the black man back in the place of being the daddy, we still going to be a submissive and unruly, chaotic race with no leadership and no morality, serving a race of people that saw us only as a workforce and is our mortal enemy. We need to understand that as soon as we put the black man back to being our daddy, then shit is going to change. As soon as we start to hit the white man in their pocket, things are going to change. As soon as we become self-sufficient and start growing our own food, harvesting our own food, filtrating our own water, making our own clothes, policing ourselves, and educating our own children, we will continue to be the white man's bitch.
Whoa! The spirit of Harriet Tubman. I just had to say that because when this show first began, I was just thinking like, well, Harriet Tubman got herself out of slavery, went back and freed some more slavery.
Absolutely.
That's how powerful a black woman is. And that's what there is an attack on a black woman. And they use the black men to attack us. And therefore, we need to be united. We need to have that unity. We need to let the bullshit go, learn how to forget, and move the fuck on. Because that's part of our problem too as black women. We don't want to move on past the hurt. You know what I mean? And we got this. We have been blessed with senses where we can move on, but it's like we refuse to move on. We refuse to let go of the ego and the fucking pride and say, yes, you hurt me, I forgive you, let's move the fuck on, because if I build you up, you build me up, and we're gonna be one. And that's what we need to start doing. Now, there was a brother that had left a comment in on this show, and he's in England. He said in the UK, if anybody said the word nigga to each other, no matter what race, he get punched in his mouth. We don't have that type of concept here in the United States. And I don't know if it's all of Europe that does this, but I do believe that we have to rethink the way we look at certain situations on a day-to-day basis, so we can't be too judgmental of each other. So we are allowed to love each other and even be there with each other. If we're standing in line at the grocery store to buy some food, and there is a brother and sister that have to put some food back because they ain't bring enough money or their funds didn't go through, it's our responsibility to say, you know what, add that food onto my groceries and let this brother take his food home to his family. That's what we used to do prior to us being integrated. But somehow we lost those type of unity that we have with each other. It didn't matter if we knew each other or not. If we see that you're a man or a woman buying some food and you got to put some food back because your funds didn't go through, we should be able to assist each other. We should be able, if we see a brother standing out in the streets and saying that he needs some money, despite if he look like a crackhead, we should be able to take some money out and give it to that brother and sister. I have done it plenty of times, even in New York. It's been times I have given people $20, $15, $20 at a time when I see that they need help. And I will only do it for our people because I'm putting black first. But if all of us do it, can you imagine how that can change that person and get them out of the situation that they're in, just to know that a total stranger that looked just like them had helped them out. So yes, love, compassion, ego, and pride, we need to let that shit go. We need to get back to ma'at. We need to get back to who we are as a people. We need to stop discriminating against each other and stop judging each other and start being more loving to each other, because this is what we need. What's the use of being in the history of information? Because that's what this generation is labeled as. Well, we got all this social media, but yet we so quick to click on the fuck video, but then we don't want to click on an economic video, just like Hasu or Brother George has stated. Or we don't want to learn or take small classes on how to speak other languages, you know, whatever it may be, so we can be connected in some kind of way. When we travel the world, we will have that connection with our other counterparts around the world, because that's we are around the world. We're not just here in America. And that's what I like about this show. And I thank you, Brother Rich, for even coming up with this idea and always pushing the UK and the USA link up, because it needs to happen. Because we're not only having problems here in the United States, but we're also having it around the world, that we don't even get to hear these brothers and sisters' voice their opinion. I see them in the chat room. They even put where country they are just to listen to our dialogue. So yes, I appreciate everyone's time in the chat room. I appreciate everyone's time in the panel. You know, I feel so blessed just to be a part of this, because this is important, and this is something that we need to talk about. Real time, real life situation that we all struggle through day to day, instead of all of this other distractions of who religion is right and who is wrong. That shit is not going to change my situation when I walk outside of the door. It's not going to change my situation if I get pulled over by the police. You see what I'm saying? So we need to learn how to let each other know, especially when we're out in public, even if we don't know each other. If we see a brother and sister in distress, we need to kind of take interest in it and try to see what is the best situation we can give that young brother and sister, and let's move on. Pass it forward, pass that love forward. And I'm hoping that everyone that listened to this show would take that as a task, use that as an experiment. And then when you see more shows like this developing on YouTube, type in what your experiments are or what your situation were when you encounter another brother and sister that was in distress, and you were the one to put your ego to the side and show some love and compassion for that person, and how the outcome ended up blessing them and making them move forward, so they could pass that on and pass that on and pass that on, so we could be more now unified as a Black race.
I think because I always hear a lot of times people say that religion is what has us divided, and I used to believe that. I don't believe that no more. It's not religion that has us divided. I'm looking at it like this. You know, I used to be in the street. I used to hustle. And I'm telling you, is until you can provide services for your people, that, remember, we are subordinate to everybody else because we consume from everybody else. That's why Koreans can come into the community and smack the shit out of a Black woman and we don't do anything. Because we, in our minds, subconsciously, we're still subordinate to these groups because we feel like we need them. But if we had a plethora of Black nail salons, they wouldn't be able to do that shit. See, I can't go to Chinatown and smack the shit out of a Chinese woman because the fucking Chinese people don't need me for shit. They will beat the fuck out of me right down there if they don't kill me. Do you understand what I'm saying? When we subordinate to these other groups, we're going to behave subordinate to them. And this is what I'm saying. Everything within this system is economics, man. It's economics, period. I told y'all before, like I said it, we serve this system despite our differences. We don't serve each other because we don't provide services to each other, period. I don't care if you're in the church, everybody that's in the chat room watching right now, when you get a chance, go down to your Chinatown, go down to your Italian town, go into where the Jews live, go into those areas and watch how the dollars circulate, how they move together in unison. Watch them. Watch how they hire and fire their own people. Watch how they have insurance policies and things where they pass down to their children. We don't have none of that because I'm telling y'all, for generations, they systematically kept our fathers out of the economic loop where we were never able to pass down generational wealth. And because of that, we have no morality within our community because the economic base and your morality is supposed to go together. So when I was a kid, when grandmom said, take this bread up to Miss Louise, we took the bread up to Miss Louise because the block took care of each other. But then they hit us with crack. And that dismantled any resemblance left of whatever family we had. It destroyed it. That crack holocaust. So we got to understand just what we're dealing with as food for all the other groups within this capitalist society. And all the other stuff that we talk about single moms, dudes killing themselves. All of that stuff is a byproduct of the system that you're living in when you don't have your economics. If we have our economics together, we have morality. This is why they spent so much time keeping your grandfathers out of the loop. We cannot let the people that we use as food to build our empires ever get economically strong. We always have to keep them at the bottom. So you still slavery, you still slaves because when you're in the projects, you're on a plantation. Because within the confines of the community you live in, you own nothing. And you consume everybody. So yeah, they let you make money, but they let you make money to spend it back with all the other groups. So we got black people with education. We got black people with money. We got black people moving, doing all kinds of shit. But until those educated ones decide to come back and build within the community, we're gonna have these conversations every day. I cannot expect a gangbanger or a miseducated, uneducated person living in the ghetto to come get morality right, like the person that's on a higher level education. We got to come back and save and deliver our people. I can't expect the fucking Korean or the Dominican to do it when he come into my community just to make money. He doesn't identify with my ethnic group. And I feel like we waste a lot of time, like what Kansu said when he's dealing with economics. We have to teach the people economics. It's like this. Everybody is not made to go to college. Everybody shouldn't be going to college. Some people should be learning trades and doing trades within the community. Period. Everybody shouldn't be doing economics. The ones that want to go into economics, you learn economics, and then you build and you hire your fucking people. I'm not looking for everybody to wake up because everybody ain't gonna want to wake up. But those that are woke, get your ass the fuck over here. Let's build and provide for the people that's not woke.
So George, you right?
20 years, we create something. Well, segment.
George, so you right? You think you right? You think you got the answers?
Yeah, I do.
So you don't think that anybody else that has the answers but you?
No, I'm giving my opinion. I'm not giving my opinion on the way I see it. Other people I'm not saying that anybody's wrong.
Don't take it offensive. I'm trying to get to a point. So just rock with me, brother. You know I got love for you. So I'm not trying to get
I'm not offended.
So,
I'm not offended.
but I'm going to ask you again. If you think you right, you think that how you think and what you're expressing right now,
right?
And I really think that you're just saying the same thing that I said in a different way. A lot of the things that you're saying is the same exact thing. But my question is, and I'm getting to a point, because you know it's out of love. I love you, my brother. You my motherfucker. Cool. Go ahead. Okay. So the question is, do you think you right? You think you got the answers? You think you the one with the answers? You think if everybody black in North America did what you said, we would be good?
For the most part, yeah.
Yes.
Is that what he said? I couldn't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I said for the most part, yeah.
Okay, and how do you come to that conclusion that you believe that what you're saying would get us out of the situation that we're in?
Because through my observation of understanding how the system works and how other groups come here, and suck our community dry, and the way that the system went out of their way to keep us out of the economic within this capitalist society.
Okay,
here's an observation.
Okay, so now how can we everything is done with trial and error, correct? So for us to do it on a mass scale, we're gonna have to do it on a small scale first. So how do we get just let's start with 5 families. How do we get 5 families, 5 black families to agree to go by all the steps that you say are correct? Because you believe that everything that you're saying would change the state of the black family in North America. How can we get 5 families to agree to go by your rules under your direction and laying down a blueprint on how to make it work?
You get those families together and you start providing services for the people within your area, and you do everything on a 10 to 20 year projection. So you start off small and you build.
We ain't got 20 years. We don't got 20 years.
No, we got 20 years because we've been here.
We don't. There's absolutely no. There's no way. Come on, George.
I disagree with
Come
that
on,
aspect.
George.
I look at it from this. I look at it from this aspect. You start from somewhere. We've been here for a long time. You gotta plant a seed and you begin to let it grow and build. You gotta have a vision. You gotta dream. We no longer dream or have visions. We just reactionary to everything. So we think everything gotta be done overnight.
Let's not go far behind what I'm saying, because everybody got a motherfucking dreams and nightmares. What I'm saying is, how can we begin to put into real action what everybody is saying? What you saying? If you saying that you believe, if you saying you believe that what you saying is right, you got the answers. That's what it is. You know, so how do we get to 5 families to agree to some kind of systematic plan so we can see that it works? What I'm trying to say is that we've tried everything else. We tried integration. We tried without our man. We tried without our woman. We tried homosexuality. We've tried atheism. We've tried every kind of religion in the book. It's over 300 kinds of Christian you could be. We've tried everything else. So how do we begin to have black families try what you saying, or try what I'm saying, or try what anybody on the panel is saying? Because it seems like nobody, it seems like everybody want to be right. It seems like let
me say something, segment. Yeah, listen, this is what I'm saying, yeah. Just like George is saying, it's got to go back to basics. And if you've got 5 families to begin with, we're already ahead of the game. If there's 5 families there, yeah. If you're saying there's 5 families there to begin with, we're ahead of the game. So straight away, all we need to do is identify as 5 families.
Yeah.
What do we need? What do we need to sustain ourselves? Food,
that's
shelter,
what I'm trying to get to.
Education, yeah. The hospitalization if we need it, or some sort of medical care. That's where we got to start. It's real basic. And if we've all got a family each, and we all gonna care for our children, we're gonna care for ourselves, and we're gonna all need those basic elements. So straight away, that's why I'm with George when he says if we don't deal with that basic element of having a family structure to begin with, us even coming together as 5 families, as you're saying, is gonna be a madness. Because straight away, we're not all valuing the same thing. If it's one gay guy in one house, one family over here, one gangbang over here, everybody doesn't need the same immunities. Everybody doesn't value the same immunities.
But see, that's what I'm saying. When I value the system,
that's my answer to that.
Okay, so then what I'm saying is, how do we get to the change? If you're saying that the value system isn't the same, and we can't connect to the gangbanger and the Kemetic and the Jew and the Christian and the Muslim all at once, and we can't even get 5 black families to agree to live by one kind of structure to see if that works for us. But we can honestly all say that black folks have tried everybody else's shit. So then when do we get to the root of the change? When do we get to the change? If we all just beating each other about the head with how we feel things are going to be right. My situation, like I say, wait a minute. I gave my what I think would work, which is self-sufficiency, growing our own food, filtrating our own water, making our own clothes, policing ourselves, and educating our own children. I think if we could do those 5 things, then we can begin to live off of the safety net of our mortal enemy. And when we begin to live off the safety net of our own enemy and affect them in their pocket, if we begin to sell to everyone and buy only from each other and do those 5 things that I've said, then why can't we not see all of the things that you guys are saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it sounds like we running around beating each other around the head trying to say, oh, I think it's right or it's not right, but actually we all kind of saying the same thing. So how do we get to the same verbiage and not be caught up in the semantics of it all? How do we get to the same verbiage? But how do we get to the, let me just finish this point. How do we get to the same verbiage and have a commitment? It's how many of us on the panel right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 of us on the panel right now. So why can't we get to a place where we can get above the semantics, above the verbiage, and say, this is what we need to do? How do we begin to affect each other in the way to make it happen?
I thought that I said it when I was speaking, when I said, listen, what we got to realize is under the system, despite our differences, we already all serve this shit. We serve it. Like we serve it in everything that we do. Like me and you basically, like you said the same thing, but just in different words. But everything that you're saying, we serve this system by being just being subordinate to it. So what I'm saying is you have families already that's doing these things in the South in different places, but they're doing them into their different groups. That's why I said those that are woke, the ones that are woke, is incumbent upon us now, because we're supposed to be the ones that's in the know now. We figured it out. We looked around and observed certain things where we can articulate the things that we see. So now it's up to us to build and provide for our people. So now if we ask the question, well, how do we do it? Now we on these forums where we notice something wrong. Now it's incumbent upon us to come together and make it happen. Because like you said, you do the things with the guard. Consul do the things with the education. So now we the conscious people are the ones that got to come together to do it. So I think that once you can get beyond the things, we found something that brings us that we find in common that can bring us together. So now I just think it gets to the point of just now implementing what we already know. You know what I mean?
Sadly, I'm going to be honest. I really think Black folks have gotten to the point where we just love to hear each other talk. We love to hear ourselves talk because there's too many people, too many of us out here doing real work on the ground that's hollering, come help, come get down. We doing this over here. We doing that over here. Let's move together. Let's live collectively. Let's try these things. And niggas don't want to try it. I'm beginning to believe that this whole thing has become an addiction to hearing each other talk. And nobody's really ready to get up off their ass and make a move. I'm trying to be down with people that's ready to make a move, whether it's wrong, right, or indifferent. We've tried everything else. Why can't we try something else? That's all I'm saying. I'm ready for people that's about that action. And I think that a lot of Black folks ain't really about that action right now. They just want to talk about it.
That's trying to say something.
That's why I'm saying that we need to go and secure a base of operations, and that's not running here in the North America, in Europe, in England. Like the chances of us executing the plans that we want, are sorely compromised trying to do it on these souls. That's my opinion. This is where the Pan-Africa thing has to work. Where maybe not all of us go back, but a good majority of us need to help go back, secure those resources that are running this whole game over here. So we do have a stake in the game when you want to set up a community. Because right now, the reality is we're hated. We know this. We've covered that side quite clearly. All the multiple levels of abuse and trauma that we're going through and subjected to, we know this. We know that list. So my thing is, how successful is that building going to be within these realms? Really, how successful can it really be within these realms without reconnecting to our African heritage, to that African land, to those resources, and creating some sort of trade and narrative where we're drawing strength from them and they're drawing strength from us? I just don't see it working, whatever the intention, properly here, because it's a constant non-stop attack. And there's so many different narratives going on. As Konsu pointed out earlier, for our people over here to look back into ancient times and stuff is a hard thing, because there's so many layers of history being put on top of us where we don't have a culture. That's where the show started. Around here, we don't have a culture. We're trying to make a culture constantly. So that's a problem for me. That's my opinion on it. Unless there's some sort of link up, that needs to be what needs to run differently, that I haven't seen done. And the last time there was a touch of it being done, there was 7 million people supporting the movement. So I ain't seen anyone top that one yet, not since before that time. Yeah, so, you know, if people want to talk about success stories and what to do, show me something that's better than that one. Yeah, and that was a culmination of back home and here.
Was Konsu trying to say something?
Now, Konsu's going to come back in. He's just on a call. He'll be back in.
Okay, I seen something. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of black people on the ground doing things. We just spread out into so many different. We spread out to so many different places because we are part of so many different things. So there's black people moving around, and I spoke to that. But like same question I asked Konsu: how do we get these people together? How do we get our people together? You got people doing things. It's not black people just sitting around not doing nothing. You got black people that's a part of the system. You got black people that's a part of these religious systems that's doing things that have commerce moving, but they doing it amongst their groups. How do we come together and merge that together? I think that's what the conversation should be. How can we use these platforms to showcase these people, like with the things that SetMed is doing on the ground? How can we use these platforms instead of banging on each other to show what are the actual things that our people are doing, somewhat independent of the system?
Well, let me tell you this. Let me say this, George. I appreciate that, but let me tell you this right here. You won't never see what I'm doing on the internet. I'll be damned if I let another cracker know what I'm doing on the ground. If you want to get down, you're going to have to get up to get down. You're going to have to get up out your house from behind your keyboard and get it popping. I'm not showing nothing on the internet no more. Never again in life. If you want to make some real moves, you ready for some real change, you ready to do some real shit, you're going to have to get up to get down. Mobilize. Get your ass up. Connect with somebody and do some real shit. Get from behind your keyboard with your thumb jocking ass and all of that other bullshit and go and find somewhere and somebody to group up with, man up with, sister up with, brotherhood up with, sisterhood up with, and do some real mobilizing work. So if you're waiting for somebody like me to show some shit on the internet, you'll be waiting till you in a box. You're going to have to get up and come seek me. You're going to have to get up and come find me. I'm in the streets.
I understand your point. You know, I understand what you're saying. I just think that a lot of things that our people is doing is not being seen. Like these social media platforms has been saturated with a bunch of just bullshit. Like we're not. When I look at like a lot of the movements in the 60s and the 70s and stuff, they had worldwide movements without social media. Now we got the social media platforms where we could be everywhere at the same time, and we use them for all the wrong reasons. Like we don't use them to really connect with our people and show our people what we might be doing in this city, but maybe they could implement it in a city across town or across the country. We're not using it for that. We're using it for all the wrong reasons. So I just, when I look at how organizations was established back in the day with no cell phones, none of this stuff was out. And now we got all this stuff now. Like, what are we doing with it? You know, and like I said, you know, it's people on the ground doing stuff. And I understand your point where you said and I understand why you said it. So, but I think that that doesn't pertain to everybody. And I think that we should be using these platforms to showcase what our people is doing, to spark those ideas within the mindset of our people. Because we're using these platforms now to spark all the wrong shit in the mindset of our people. And our people, this is the new TV. We don't watch TV no more. We watch these platforms. and this is beginning to form our way of thinking and the way we operate is based off of what the fuck is going on these platforms. So I think we need to showcase more of what our people are doing. And in my opinion, because there are people out here doing the work. And I stand by what I say, because I understand that we live within this economics. We live in this country until we free of this system. We're gonna have to work within each other to still work within the system. That's just the way it is until we get free of it. Peace to Harker. I see you just came in.
That's so. Talk about. Hey, speak to the people, brother. I know you've been listening to some of the conversation.
Give me a minute. Give me 1 second. Pick out my camera, brother.
Get your shit together, brother. You're on Black Eyes TV, you know how we do, bro.
But I'll say this while I get this stuff together. I agree a lot with what Setmaker is saying, because I'm gonna be honest. I feel the same way sometimes. So I think a lot of times, man, we want so much for our people, and a lot of us is on the ground actually doing the work behind the scenes, but you get let down, like you get heartbroken, like you get tired. That's why I always say at the end of all my videos, I love my people more than they hate themselves, because you get tired. Like, it's just like, at what point are we going to fucking get it? So I understand what Setmaker is saying. So, I say the things I say based off of my experiences and based off of my observation, but you get tired of this shit.
George, let me tell you this right here. You ain't never been locked up for this shit. You ain't never had to lose your family for this shit. You ain't never had to lose your home, your car, your lifestyle, and everything else for this shit. I ain't tired, and all those things have happened to me. We talk about getting tired. Nigga, we got black folks that can't walk from one side of the town from another. When we talk about real revolutionaries and people bring up Harriet Tubman walked from Georgia to the north. We can't even walk to the bodega on the corner. We talk about tired. We don't even know what South Carolina. Correct me. Thank you. I don't have no problem with being corrected. I'm just keeping it a buck here. I'm keeping it a buck. What I'm saying is we don't even know what tired feels like. We don't even know what that shit feels like. We don't even know what tired feels like till we worked in the field 40 hours in 3 days and for no pay for chitlins. For intestines. We don't know what it feels like. We lazy, we comfortable, we loving these cracker amenities that we have. We love these things that are blinding us and putting us in a comfort zone. Not one of us know what it feels like to be tired for real. We all on some bullshit. And I really think that black folks have become so comfortable with all these cracker amenities that if we ever really talk about some real revolution, niggas is gonna be like, hell no, let me stay over here with my Gucci belt and my chicken nuggets and my Jordan and my love and fucking hip hop, because anything besides that is too goddamn much.
Well, I look at it like this. With all that being said, I don't disagree with you. But when we know that the majority of our people is not going to move that way, you do get tired of this shit. And see, when I say tired of this shit, I'm saying based off of the way that we're moving. I'm not saying based off of what our ancestors went through. That's two totally different things. So I wouldn't even use that aspect. What I'm saying is based off of our experiences right now and trying to get our people to mobilize. You get tired. You get heartbroken. You get let down. No, I didn't go to jail based off of this shit. I've been in jail for all kinds of shit, being a part of this fucking system, and then waking up and trying to wake up your people, but your people are fucking zombies. You watching your people that you love every day, that you can see shit that they don't see, and they're killing themselves, and it fucking hurts. Sometimes I had a brother tell me he hate being woke. That's kind of heartbroken. He said he hate being woke. He said when he was running shit, he was fucking ignorant. He said when he was fucking ignorant, he didn't worry as much as he did. Now, this is fucked up. I had a brother tell me that shit.
Give up till we free, and we can't give up till we free. And that's what I'm saying to you, George. And what I'm trying to do is edify you. I understand. I'm hear what you're saying. And I'm telling you from sister to brother, we can't get tired. We cannot lose one another. We can't lose love for one another. We got to keep pressing on. Even when everybody turns our back against us, we got to keep pressing on. We can't stop until the freedom bell rings. And the freedom bell ain't gonna, and the freedom bell is not gonna ring if we give up. Do you know how many nights I've cried? Do you know how many nights I've sat up? Do you know how many nights I've said why? I've spent most of my life away from my family, standing up for black people all over the country. I've missed 3 births of my sister. I've missed burials. I've missed all kind of things with my family, running around the country fighting for black liberation and black freedom. You can't get tired. You can't give up. You gotta cry in the shower and you gotta keep on pushing.
I agree. Come on, Talk. Come on, Talk. Come with it.
Hey man, look, man, that's some good conversation, man. I give praise to the great God of Allah. I give honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I give honor to y'all, Sister Sek, man. She putting that thing in, brother. She putting in that work. She putting in that work, brother. What can I say to that? Hey, brother, listen. Check it out. I'm gonna be real brief because I just chimed in for a second. I got other things I'm working on. My brother, you're absolutely right. The moment that we take this struggle as if it's not a part of the divine struggle that we must encounter, once we take that personal, then we get tired. When we start to understand that that's a part of it, that's just a part of it. Brother, I'm telling you, I be in these streets hard. There is not a person in Baltimore that cannot say I don't be in these streets. I be in them hard, bro. I'm talking about I catch the secondhand weed smoke. You know that raggedy weed they smoke these days? I catch all that. I catch the drink. I catch the secondhand spit. I catch all that, brother, because I'm out there. These YouTube guys don't know nothing about that. They know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? And some of the ignorance, you got to laugh at it just so you don't cry and get weak as you move on towards the destination, brother. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to add this. I don't care where you are at the top of the map, the bottom of the map, across the water, or over here. It don't make a difference. The problem is that we always trying to reconscious someone who says that they're conscious. We go to the people that say they're conscious and say, come on, move with me. If they're conscious, we shouldn't have to say that. We're supposed to know. So guess what? It's a million and millions of our people that we consider unconscious. And so I tell people the Moorish Science Temple of America, this ain't your grandfather's Moorish Science Temple of America that I'm running. No, sir. This is the new age, the Moorish Science Temple of America. And guess what? I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to convince you of something that I know you already know. So I'm coming for the young, the unborn, and the willing. If you ain't none of them, get out my way. If you want to come, you can come. But I'm telling you, watch what I tell you, George. George, this movement right here in Baltimore is going to be the biggest coming together of Moors on the East Coast. Watch what I tell you, brother. I'm not playing, brother. We get some money.
I'm coming down there, man. I'm coming down to the sea.
Brother, let me tell you something. The reason why people ain't seen me on live stream, I'm trying to get this money right.
Yeah, I know. I'm coming to see.
But I can put some money in my people's pocket and take. How can I tell? You know what? Baltimore is one of the most high volume area for selling dope. Let's keep it real. I'm talking about real dope. Heroin. The heroin is real. You know, when people was watching The Wire, man, that's real. That was real. Now let me tell you something. How am I going to take dope money out somebody's hand and talk about take a law, take Black Power, take Yoshua? I'm gonna take dope money out their hand. Man, I got to get them people some money. We gonna get some real money, brother. I run 2 businesses. You know what I'm saying? I take money out my pocket to try to get this thing up and running because I know our people are asleep. And once it's built, they'll come. It's all right. I got investors that know nothing about what we call the conscious community, just ready to kick out the money. I'm like, hold it. Wait a minute. Let me lay the foundation first. Let me show you the sacrifice that I'm going to put in. And once I show you the sacrifice, I had a meeting today with a brother. He was like, brother, would you let Verizon come in the community? I say, heck no. We create our own Verizon. He said, what about 7-Eleven? We create our own 7-Eleven. We don't need none of that. And so that's the point. You got to get those who are willing to move how you going to move. If they ain't willing to move how you going to move, leave them alone. Don't worry about that black and green, red, black and green. Don't worry about that. The feds, don't worry about none of that. If they're not speaking your language of your heart to move for the revolution and the liberation of your people, man, this is just entertainment.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's why, hey George, you know and I know, man, shout out to Zion Lex, because Zion Lex, that's my guy. See,
That's
when it really gets thick, we don't mind putting hands on it.
Listen,
We
I
don't
want to
mind
bring
putting hands on it. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I want to bring in Zylex, yeah. First time to Black Eyes TV on the platform, yeah. Big up Zylex, unmute your mic, speak to the people, brother.
Peace, peace, peace. Love, love, love. Hotep, shalom. Salute to the Black Eyes TV family.
Let me turn up your mic, bro. One second, let me turn up your mic so we can hear you good.
Peace, Zion.
Peace, peace. Check, check, check. Can I be heard loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Peace, peace to the Black Eyes TV family. Peace to all the panelists. As I know and am very familiar with most of you, I want to say Hotep. I want to say peace. I want to say shalom. And I most definitely want to say Black Power. I haven't tuned in to the beginning of the show. I actually just got my phone to a charger, so my phone literally just got some energy. So I haven't heard the bulk of the conversation, but I got a link and I'm here, and I definitely would love to chime in where I can chime in. I love my people. I love Black people. I love Black culture, and I love my African brothers and sisters.
What up, Lex?
Let me give you a quick rundown. What we've just been talking about this evening is the Black culture in this Western diaspora. So specifically America, Europe, you understand what we got to offer. We've been talking about the Black family, the importance of it, having a value system in it, you know, those aspects, and when we need to heal and what we need to fix to get ourselves out of these immediate problems. And I think the narrative, the general narrative, I'm going to say, yeah, from the panel has been the value in the Black family and our own Black culture, being self-sufficient, yeah, being reliant on ourselves, these aspects. So again, just from those quick headliner points, what's your opinion on the Black community? What is your opinion on the Black family? You know, I know you have families, so just speak on that, brother. And we'll just
okay. So the first thing I want to say is that no matter where you find us in any part of the world, the first thing that unites us is our genes, our legacy. We are all quote unquote Black people. Of course, we have different nationalities among the greater Black race, but the first thing that unites us is the hue of our skin, which would give rise to the photochemical analysis of looking at the melanin within our bodies, which not only says something about the strength of our skin, but it says something about the strength of our very psyche. As a lot of people may or may not realize that melanin is actually replete throughout the human body. A few who study a little further on also know that melanin is replete throughout the universe. And the main or the focal point of melanin is that wherever we find it in the human body, it's there to maintain optimal health. And Black people have it in abundance. So the first thing I want to say is that Black people throughout the world, one of our first common denominators is the fact that wherever you find us, we are being oppressed by people who seek to colonize our land, colonize our ideology, as well as colonize our very biochemical nature. As we're seeing chemical warfare take place today in the United States, in particular, where we're finding Black men dead with no organs throughout their body. As we know that throughout the world, Black organs on the Black market is one of the highest commodities throughout the world. And the thing, again, that unites us as Black people, first and foremost, is oppression by our enemies, who are namely people that do not look anything like us. But if you ask me to chime in on that particular context, I would say that one of the greatest enemies to Black liberation are Black people that think with the minds of Europeans. Sometimes we as Black people, in trying to get a foothold in the world and make a name for ourselves, some of us are willing to step on other melanated people to get there. So I think that to a certain extent, we also become one of our greatest enemies. A person asked me after I gave a lecture about 2 or 3 weeks ago, what do I think is our greatest opposition, and who do I think is our greatest blame? And I said us. Until we realize that the white man is not so great that we became defeated by him. We have to first understand as Black people that the only thing that can defeat us is us. Black people lose to the world because we are first self-defeated. Black people lose to the world first because we are divided and self-conquered. And until we understand that we are our own greatest oppressor and our own greatest form of oppression, we cannot even get close to ridding the external forces that exist. We have to first deal with some of the internal dangers, some of the internal oppression, in order to thwart any outside efforts. And that's some of the points that I wish to share at this point.
All right, I'm feeling you. Anybody want to chime in after what was said? Was silence? What, Lex came and just silenced up the panel, yeah? With them few comments.
Do Kansu or Solomon have anything to say? I mean, Tahaka, he always, I love the energy. But God damn, he had me so fucking hyped.
Listen, after them comments, let me just take a moment just to tell the people them again. Thank you for tuning in. Big up to all the chat room. I want to say a special thank you right now to Zion Lex for tuning in. He didn't know what was going on. I've been trying to get with him for, a little week or so, and we missed each other. So I just sent him out the link. So thank you again, brother, for coming on and sharing your views with us and getting you to speak on something that's kind of different from the norm. George.
Yeah. I'm saying, hey, Tahaka, I'm coming down there to see you, big bro.
Hey, brother, come on down, brother. You gonna get a hood pass, brother. I'm gonna get you a hood pass. I
told you I know my way around it a little bit. When I got something on there.
Let me say this, man. Shout out to Lex, man. That's my guy, man. For real, man. I can't wait to come back to NY to hook up with Lex. See, Lex smooth like butter, but he put them hands on you. He like me. I don't mean he like me, man. He ain't got time for a whole bunch of games. You know what I mean?
Sure. Shout out to Lex.
That's my guy.
Well, one of y'all shout out to me, because I do a mobile food pantry in your city, Tahaka. I do a mobile once a month. I do a mobile food pantry in George, in your city, in Philly. I do one once a month in your city. So the next time I come to Baltimore once a month and do a mobile food pantry and give food out to your people. So the next time I'm there,
I heard about you too, and I ain't
damn right.
You when you came here. You know what I mean?
Damn right.
I'm gonna take you with me under the bridge. Let's go under the bridge and feed the people like I do. That's
been there.
Come to the bridge. What you scared to meet up with Tahaka Bay? Huh?
No, you need to come holla at me and get down with this thing right here. So the next time, there's no way, George, I'll be in your city once a month too, feeding your folks out there too. So let's get up.
I'll see you when you get here.
Okay, so next month when I'm out there, let's see what y'all really working with, and let's see if y'all ready to really get this work in. How about that?
I'll say this. Let's have it. Right here in the city right now, we working. Me and a couple people, we working to get this organization off the ground that we started. But here in Philadelphia right now, we dealing with like 200 homicides already within the city. within the city in this year. Oh boy, 200 homicides. That's my son. 200 homicides so far. It's August the 11th. Over 800 people shot. So you know, we trying to mobilize some of these gangs. You know, some of these so-called street corners, man, and get a sit down. We get some troops going on. You know, I'm a person from the street. You know, I know a lot of people, and a lot of connections, man. We trying to get these guys, man, to sit down. We like you just had a big time rapper in the city, no local rapper just gunned down in the drive-by. Like the city is on edge, on tilt. So like, you know, we in the street right now, man. Like, you know, we go on a lot of blocks, man. We go on a lot of places, man. It's real fucked up. And we dealing with these young people, man, with the tattoos on their face and the pistols on them. Like we working with these kids, man, and it's something else. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm gonna come down there. And holler at you, Tahaka. But this is what we doing here right now.
It's the segment that slid through Baltimore, and I got the word at least twice. You know what I mean? I got the word, sis, that you just slipped through here. You ain't slipping through no more. I'm gonna catch you coming through here, all right?
Yeah, because when I come through, I stay there all day. We do a mobile book we do a mobile book giveaway where we give away books in the hood. We do a mobile food pantry where we give away food in the hood. And then the last time I was in Baltimore, which was last month, I was in Perry Hall.
No, you got to get out Perry Hall. You got to come over Pennsylvania Avenue.
Been there.
This is the issue, though, segment. Listen. We definitely going to do some work together, sis. I'm telling you, we definitely going to go do some work together. But see, the problem has been, and you know and I know, that this connotation of what a Moorish American is has been misconstrued. And so when I first made contact with you, our conversation was about selling some birth certificates or something, which that has nothing to do with Morriside. But the conversation went left because people has manipulated the minds of the people to sell some people some saving stuff that don't save you from nothing. So at the end of the day,
Tahaka, well, let me say, because we have never spoke about it publicly again since we spoke that one time. Let me tell you something. Shalom, my brother. I'm not the person that I used to be. So that's not the kind of conversation. That's not the kind of conversation that you'll get out of me anymore.
But that's what I'm saying.
So if I owe you, but let me finish, my brother. If I owe you an apology for that conversation, then I get you an apology. But once again, let me say this.
Stop that.
So let me say this, Tahaka. Let me say this.
Because of that.
Let me tell you something. Kwam Yashiala, and let's get this work. I'm ready for people that's ready to mobilize. I'm ready for people that's ready to get this work in. I'm ready for people that's ready to be self-sufficient. I'm ready for people that's ready to get off this crack of titty, and I'm ready to do some work all over the globe. So if you down to make a move, like I said before, you got to get up to get down. Hit my email, itsourtimecollective@gmail.com. I don't care what ideology you claim. I don't care what sex you claim. I don't care what cosmology you claim. It's time for us to be mobilized and self-sufficient and get off this crack of titty. How we gonna do it? We gonna do it by self-sufficiency, teaching our sisters how to make our own clothes, going around doing seminars on how to homeschool, teaching ourselves how to police ourselves, getting some real neighborhood watches popping, getting these hoes off the corner, getting our sisters out of the abortion clinics, getting our brothers from shooting each other. We got to really start making some real moves, still real mobilizing. I'm ready to go to the UK and set a fire under their ass too. It's time to get it popping.
You ready for it, man? Listen, we've been on for a little while, yeah, and I'm ready to go to my bed, yeah. I want everybody to give their final thoughts before we wrap this thing up, yeah.
I wanted Kansu to say something right quick though, because he just
Kansu with the bed. Kansu with the bed.
Could I say something real quick?
Yeah, look, I'm sorry, but you have to take this for the United States family. Since you always talking about this link up, I mean, come on now, we got to get the spirits of Kansu. We already got
Could I say something real quick?
Oh, go ahead, Zion.
Thank you very much. I wanted to plug an event that I'm doing tomorrow in New York City. I have the Origins of Civilization tour. taking place tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We are welcoming all facets of the conscious community. Doesn't matter what people you come from. The tour tomorrow is about empowering Black people with our ancient legacy in order that we may empower our present day lives by utilizing some of the tools of morality that our ancestors used in days of old. This is not a lecture about being pro-Hebrew. This is not a lecture about being pro-Moor. This is not a lecture about being pro-Kemet. This is a lecture about African legacy and honing in on those tools that made us great and fine-tuning it so that we can once again become great. So I'm calling for all facets of the conscious community to come out tomorrow because this will definitely be a dynamic tour. I thank the panelists for allowing me to share a voice with some of you. I want to say to my sister, Empress Sekhmet, you know the love that I have for you has always been genuine and dear. My sister, I would love to patronize any event that you do, and I would love for us to one day come together and do an event. To my brother, Tahaka Bey, my brother, you already know what it is. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in B-More next month, so I'm hoping that I could get some of that pass because, you know, my jewels is kind of heavy. I might need some of that pass. So if you got a little hood pass, I might be able to use some of that. And to my brother, George Macon, I'm actually going to be in Philly before August is over. I'm coming out there to do an interview with Brother Solomon. So I'm hoping to see you during that time. And Sister Sci-Fi.
I will be in New York next weekend.
No doubt.
Yes.
Kansu, I told you he went to bed.
No, I'm here, man. I'm working at the same time. I couldn't talk.
Come on, Kansu, stop that, brother. Stop that.
Peace to my brother Kansu. I didn't really hear that Kansu was on the line. I gotta say something publicly that I usually say private. Brother Kansu is not just a dear brother and a dear friend. He's a confidant. I see him as an elder. Many of the leaders in the community that I was raised in, he has a mutual respect for. As a result, I have a mutual respect for those who came before him as well as him. And I want to say salute to my big brother, one of my elder teachers, Brother Kansu.
Much appreciated. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that always. You already know. Hey, you already know, Zion. You know how we do, man. This ain't nothing, man. It's all good. Much appreciated, man. But no, man, Tahaka, stop giving me a hard time, man, before I tell to who.
You know you my guy, brother. You know you my guy.
You already know. We in the Mecca of the Moors, baby. You already know what time.
That's right. And I'll be there next month or month after. One of September or October. One of those. I'm not sure.
Tootie told me that you was coming. So I'm gonna make sure and see you this time, bro. I've been playing.
Absolutely. Let me say something before I gotta go. Listen, at the end of the day, family, at the end of the day, this is what it is. When you decide that you want to be in this fight for our people, one of the first things that I think we need to pay attention to is what is the end game? Whoever you linking up with, this the US-UK link up. Well, if you're on the streets and you're in the community and you're trying to uplift our people or liberate our people, whatever you choose to determine it to be or call it, what is the end game? What is the ultimate end game? What are you trying to go with it? What are the group of people that have like minds? Where are you trying to go with it? Me, I'm trying to fulfill something that I seen Prophet Noble Drew Ali fulfilled. And that was a community by us, for us, ran by us, taking over areas at a time and controlling the area. The whole area of politics, the area of police, the area economics, everything. And so I looked at a piece in Baltimore. I invested my money there. I got people to invest there with like minds. Ain't no European dollars coming up in there unless they buying something and leaving. And they might not even do that. But the point of the matter is, I want to create a condition that can put money in people's pocket. We educate our children that, like my I'm real serious about this. Ain't no European educating my son. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? And got one on the way. He ain't gonna see the face of a European flashing a book at him. Not while he come. No, it ain't gonna happen. And he gonna be sharp. I can get my son down here right now, sharp. 8 years old, sharp. But the point of the matter is, what is the goal? The goal is ultimate liberation, and to get to that, we need a step-by-step plan. And I agree with Sister Sekhmet. When I get on YouTube, I get the hooping and hollering, I get the pump up and all of that. Like, but what's gonna happen is one day it's gonna be voila. Man, this guy ain't crazy. Look what just happened right before your eyes, because I'm not going to display my step-by-step plan for the public to see and somebody to try to sabotage it, because even our people are that crazy to try to sabotage the liberation of themselves. So I agree with Sister Sekhmet on that, but get with people who have an organized plan and a great end game, where you're trying to go with all this at the end of the day. And I say peace with that. And I thank all y'all for having me. I thank y'all. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. And I ain't calming down, and it ain't coffee. This is who I am. Okay.
If I may say just one more thing, one of the things I want to say, Brother Tahar, and I'm hoping that you don't come down on me for this. I always must speak my mind, and I always must speak my truth. With all the great love and respect that I have for the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, I must say that I slightly differ in that I think it is not Noble Drew Ali's template that we necessarily should work together under and come together and fulfill. I think Marcus Garvey template was very effective in uniting every facet in the Black community for the sole goal of Black liberation, meaning that we all had our own ideas, we all had our own vision of cultural legacy, but none of that thwarted or put a hedge in between the goal of Black liberation. And I think that is most pronounced in the Honorable Marcus Garvey's work, with great respect to Noble Drew Ali, my brother.
Well, in response to that, I look at it like this. This is the way I see the world. I'm not saying everybody should see it like this, but I see the world like this. In the great diaspora of the African continent, there are multiple cultures, multiple nationalities today, but back in the day, many, many thousands of tribes. Every tribe didn't see everything alike. But guess what? They found a way to work together and make a utopia in certain aspects or regions of Africa. And that came from trade, from commerce, from brotherly love, as well as loving thy neighbor, as they would say in old good book, as they say, as their self. So I like the template as I've studied from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Now remember that I've been in the Moorish Science Temple of America for over 20 years. So I see something that maybe someone else outside doesn't see, but that doesn't disregard what they don't see. But I believe that we can still meet on a middle ground, because if I'm eating, I bet you come to this, hey, Zion, if all that jewelry you got, if you got a jewelry shop or if you got a leather shop or whatever, I guarantee you I get this Moorish village up and running. I say, brother, put in Hebrew leather shop up in that joint. And if you got the ability to do it, it doesn't matter because you say you Hebrew and I say I'm Moorish. Bring your shop up in there and let's get this money and let's turn that money to the liberation of our people. I don't get caught up in that.
And it's because of that modality that I will always put 10 toes on the ground and raise my 10 fingers and my fist, if need be, to defend you with my life, my brother. I respect and love you dearly.
And I love you too, and I would love to knock somebody's head off with you. I mean, no, that's another. Hey, I'm telling you, listen, let me say this before I go, brother. Like when I first met Lex, right? I'm from there for real. Like I'm really from there. I got some people that can co-sign this thing, right? I'm from there for real. So you know when a thorough, right? When I met Brother Lex for the first time back in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, Brother Lex was just so smooth. And I said, yeah, he will choke a guy out. That's my guy. But only if you violate the principles, the high principles and what he stands for. And I am the same way. And so as he just said, what he said, that's where I'm at. 10 toes down, 5 bald and 5 bald. And that go for my brother George Megan, and that go for my brother Kansu. Oh yeah, we can rumble this out. But I'm for peace if possible, violence if necessary.
What's your final thoughts before you find out, brother?
Yeah, I want to make sure we don't get off the subject though. But yeah, thank you, Zion, for being on the panel. It's a pleasure. It's my first time ever being on the panel with you. But I have personal conversations with you, and I know there's a lot of topics you can touch on. So I am very honored to see you on there. Twin, thank you for jumping on there. She didn't know anything about this show, but when I saw her in the chat room, I sent her the link. I think Terry is asleep. Yeah, Tahaka Bay, you are a fun character. You're like a cup of coffee to topics like this, but I really appreciate your wisdom and your energy. Solomon, very knowledgeable. I think he went to sleep too. Kansu, you know how
I'm wide awake. That's what you're talking about. I'm looking at your pretty face now. Talking about.
You're not saying anything.
I had you personally highlighted the whole time, even when you wasn't talking.
You're a hot mess, you know. We've been calling on for you to speak on the topic, and the whole time you've been drooling. Come on now. I'm just
come on,
contribute. Yeah, because I was multitasking. I was doing other stuff. I was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually was recording. I was recording Lex Vortex and Orthodox More. It was, so I had to mute it out, and I was multitasking. That's what it was.
Okay, so what are your topics and what are your solutions? Because we all somewhat offer some solutions, except for
yo. Listen. Everyone just chill out. Yeah, I'm going to my bed now. So
yeah.
It's so nice trying to kick it open again. Just chill out, baby. Yeah.
Difference over there, you know what I mean? It's like 4 o'clock.
That's what I'm trying to say. Speak on it, Solomon. Anyway, Solomon, give us your final thoughts here, because I know you know about the subject and you was listening.
Because when I click back on, I seen Taharka Bay in the building, Zion Lex.
No, that's something.
He got an all-star lineup. You know what I mean?
Listen, it's back on next Saturday. Let me just say that quickly. Yeah, so don't worry. The people is gonna get a chance to see this lineup again. Hopefully, everyone's gonna come together. We're gonna do some more combos. Like, yeah, share your final thoughts so we can go through this, and I can go to my bed.
No doubt. You know what I mean? I greatly appreciate the discussion, the parts that I did here. I actually was listening to Kansu part, and I wanted to respond to that, but at the same time, I was doing stuff when he was talking about the Martin Luther King thing and WEB Du Bois and how people was kind of, calling them house Negroes and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to respond to that part, but that's all the way down the road. But with that being said, it was a good discussion. I believe the parts that I did here, and I think that we should have more of these type of discussions in the future because it's like a diverse group of people here. You got Moors, Hebrew Israelites, people of all different persuasions. And I think that one thing that we do agree upon is that we have issues that needs to be solved, and it's very constructive that we got people all over the world now. This thing's becoming international with your boy Rich. He's over there in the UK, and we need to make that connection and kind of further these type of dialogues because it's like a global thing now. Everything is being globalized, and we have a collective consciousness that's developing. So this would be good for to set this thing in motion for future generations and for the children to watch. How we exchange ideas of how to solve problems that affect us at this day and time. So shout out to Brother Rich. And we're gonna do a lot of things in the future. So be on the lookout for Solomon and Brother Rich taking this thing over. You know what I mean?
Oh, you don't know. Yeah. This is where it is. Black Eyes TV, UK, USA, link up. Listen, people, it's been a pleasure. It's been nice. Yeah, I'd love to like listen to more people speak, but I really am done. Yeah, tune in again another time. We'll keep this thing going. Look out for us during the week. There's going to be more shows. Look out for the next panel show next weekend. We are definitely going to run it, or even during the week. We'll sort something out, yeah? Big up to everybody that's joining us, yeah? I'm done. I'm very tired. I need to go sleep. Peace, people. Peace, 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 peace.
You ain't right, man. You ain't right. You ain't right. I'm just getting